8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Creative Friday. Unfortunately, John has been wiped off the face of the earth.
Speak it, devil.
Yeah, we've just had a message off his wife just saying to us that he has sort of taken a boat into the middle of the ocean and walked in with his pockets full of lead. Only joking, of course, because here's his chair. And there's his mortal remains.
Hello.
Hello, John.
I would have been on time if you didn't pull that stunt. No, that's not true. Hello, everyone.
How are you?
I'm good.
My erstwhile co-host. Erstwhile, even.
I'm just checking. Yes, it says live up in the top corner. That's something new.
Yeah, I know. I got it right this time. Makes a change.
Unreal.
So how's your day been?
Good. Start off. I had to get some paint, so I went for a drive down to, the hobby store as you do. So this is barley grey for the. Let me adjust that. Oh yeah, it's I bought a really big bottle. That's for the ordnance for the tornado. So that happened. So what I was going to do for this session was paint it. I did primer this morning, paint it grey, then put a clear coat on and do decals. But I just haven't got the clear coat done, so I'm not going to do that. Anyway, after that, on the way home, I went past Fighter World, which is the museum where I volunteer on occasion, and I saw the amount of cars at school holidays here. I'm just like, yeah, I should do a couple of hours, and that was worthwhile because we had an F-22 pilot come in and have a look around, and he was very interested in hearing about the aircraft we had and blah 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 blah. So spent probably a good hour talking to him about stuff. It was great. Nothing secret, of course.
Yes.
But it was all, it was good day. As a result, I didn't come home and get the missiles and everything, show you what they're up to. So these are the things. So these are Pepe 4s. These are the larger version of them. You probably can't tell, but in the center rear cap, in between the crosshairs there's lots of little tiny bits. You can't even see them on camera. There's six little bits of little bits of photo etch around the thing. So that's the Edward Brassin Bospod, and that's the one that comes in the kit, and they're close enough. But there is nicer detail on the aftermarket Bospod, and these are the two Sky Shadow ECM pods, and they look very different from each other. Let's see, that's a kit one there, and that's the aftermarket one on that side. But you can see, the kit one is just looks like an external fuel tank, really. Whereas
the shape of the fins is different.
Yeah, it is. And this is, I'd say, more correct because it's got the proper mounting for them and all that. So that's what I did. As I said, I painted them, greyed up. I was going to clear coat them and then do decals, but I'm a little bit behind, so I'm not going to be doing them this session. So that leaves me with two choices. All right, then you have two choices. One is Qatari Spitfire mask set, so start to mask it up and paint the roundels and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Or I have from Fighter World, I've got a 48 scale Gloucester Meteor F8, and as you can see, the decals are a little bit shot. So they had paid for a set of Meteor decals. So what I wanted to do is polish this back, clean it up, and put the roundels back on it. So I don't know which one to do.
Are you brave enough to ask the chat?
Oh yeah, let's do that. We can ask the chat. They're going to say Qatari Spitfire, but yeah, let's ask the chat.
don't be influenced by John. Do you want him to do press 1 for spit and 2 for Canberra?
Meteor.
Meteor, that's the one.
Yeah.
At least I didn't say it's because I was concentrating on not saying swallow.
All right, that's me. So big jump off. Let's talk to the other people out there.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Good. Now that you finished laughing.
To be fair, I would have just gone with the thought and said swallow. I wouldn't have even stopped myself.
Yes, we've heard that.
Mikey!
On another note, can we go through the comments?
Yes.
Before they all sort of stop watching, yes.
Why is my screen so yellow? There you go. Duke says, first comment and like. Woohoo! There we go. Columbus says second. Hello, Callum. Nice to have you with us. Hope you're sober for a change. Tiffany says third. And she says, morning, fellas. Squarish says, oh, I couldn't make the comment podium. Morning, all. Bearded Veteran Create says, gosh darn it, you guys are good. Julian says, morning, all. 7th comment, I'm slipping. Well, to be fair, you were watching Gary Evans's live stream from last night, so I'll let you off. Julian says, hi, Duke, Columbus, Tiff, Squarish. Don't forget to like the stream, people. Yes, please do. Duke says, good day, Columbus, Tiff, Squarish, Mikey, and Julian. Good day, Duke. And he says, press the button twice, Mikey. I did.
First one to like, second one to unlike it.
No, there was a slight delay between us starting the stream and then it starting on YouTube.
Oh, for goodness sake.
So we were live. It's just YouTube hadn't refreshed.
Julian says, keep pressing the like button until we can see you, Mikey. And Black Hat says, waiting. And Duke says, ha 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 ha. Good day, Black Hat. Dark Side Scale Modeling says, it showed live on our side. Looks like there's a delay. Yes. And Black Hat says, hey there, Duke. Julian, that was YouTube's fault. Didn't update the stream. Went live again. Yes. Technology is wonderful, isn't it? Jeff Ivan's in. He says, good morning, panel. Hello, Ivan.
Hello.
Julian says, hiya, Black Hat. And Ivan says, good morning, all. Good morning.
Morning.
And Julian says, morning, Ivan. John's rubbing his spit. Duke says, good day, Ivan. Black Hat says, hey, Julian. Ivan says, high five to Julian. And Julian says, 2. He wants you to play with your meteor, not your spit.
All right.
Oh, and Black Hat's put meteor, please. There we go. Yep. Duke said, Ivan says, Duke, good day, Cobber. And he says, 3, John.
What that would be?
Julian says, morning, John.
Julian.
And Ivan says, Black Hat, hi. No, Ivan says, Black Hat, hi. And he says, 2. There you go. Ivan says, what is sausage? Good morning.
Good morning.
Not sausages and spit and... this is going a very strange stream. I can tell.
Just wait until Sonic gets here. You're so lucky he's not here already.
No.
It would be.
Black Cat says, "Hey there, chef. What's happening?" I still can't get the South Park chef out of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Julian says, "Moving swiftly along, I see the channel doesn't need my help to end up in the gutter." No.
We were there before you.
Oh, yeah. We need a ladder to get that high. Ivan says, "Good morning, square mate." Jim says, "Guten Freitag." Yeah. And he says, "Spitfire, Mr. Marley."
Mm.
And Black Hat says, "Hock to her, John."
Mm-hmm.
And Duke says, "One." And he says, "Good day, Jim." And Jim says, "Hey, Duke." And we've caught up with the chat. Woohoo!
What?
Makes a change.
So there's more, I think, votes for Spitfire than the Meteor.
No, other way around.
Concur? You reckon
No.
Meteor?
Yes. In fact, Duke has now said, "No, wait, two." So Duke has voted for all three of the two.
That's what, yeah. It's 1 plus 2. That's his 3.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to. I'll change your camera.
Oh. Jim has put a nice comment up. Says, "A jolly good job as modman yesterday, Mikey." Or Mr. Connolly. Thank you very much, John. Jim. John. Thank you.
Jimmy, John. John's Jim.
Thank you, James. Duke says, "Actually, 1." I think Duke's teasing you.
What?
I think
want
Duke's was dead.
link in the chat.
Link in the chat.
Yes, if you want to come up on the panel, you are more than welcome.
I will get that put in. Which profile is it? That one or that one? No.
That one.
Oh.
I know I've got 2 YouTube links, thingies open, tabs open. One on my moderator's profile and one on my dark side scale model one.
Julian says, "Laugh out loud at ladder, Mikey. Someone once said my mind was in the gutter. I said, how dare you? It's taking ages to get up there. Lol." Ivan says, "Jimbo cross the pond." Morning, sir. That sounds like ferry cross the Mersey. Jimbo cross the pond. Black Hat says, "Should I change my vote now to Spitfire just to be a pain?"
I've got this on the bench now, so no.
He hasn't got Spitfire, he's got Spit.
Spit.
Julian says, "John, number 4, something else, unhelpful look." Yeah, so if you want to come up on the panel and chat to us, you are more than welcome. The link is in the chat. Yeah, it'd be nice to have some new people.
There we go. Get off there.
It's only the usual crew in here, I think, by the look of it. 9 of you, so who knows? Anyway. Oh, where's my other camera gone? That is strange. Oh, that's the wrong camera. That was the wrong camera to unplug. So,
was it?
Yes. Right, well, the camera's gone missing. Funny, it appears to be on my desk.
Yuck. Now this, I don't know how old this thing is. It's solid as all get out. So what I think it is I don't even know what. It's certainly not the Airfix kit, because I've built one of them, and it had separate air brakes and stuff. And this one it's heavy. It's very, very heavy. So I'm thinking this is probably, it might even be solid resin. I don't know. But yeah, it's old. And what it does, it represents hailstorm. Now, you may or may not be aware, but Sergeant Hale was RAAF Korean War, pilot, and he had the dubious honour of being the last RAAF pilot to shoot down another aircraft in air-to-air combat in RAF history. So that was just over 50 years ago. I think it was 51 years ago, maybe 2. So this aircraft, Hailstorm, was got a little map of Tasmania on it because that's where it was from. The front half of it, of the fuselage, is down the road from me at Fighter World. Yeah, like that. So this has been sitting there well before that aircraft arrived. And it's a good thing to have around, I think.
Yeah.
Ugh. Right, I'm going to try.
Ivan says, bloke at the local brewery fell into a vat of best bitter yesterday and drowned. He didn't suffer much. He got out 3 times for a piss.
Yeah.
Black Hat says, John, is that aircraft at Fight World or Tamora?
At Fighter World. The one at Tamora is not the actual aircraft. It's painted to look like Hailstorm. It's the only Mark, I think it's the only Mark 8 or F8 Meteor in the world, but yeah, it's not the actual airframe. I can't remember which tail number it is or was. Still is, but it's painted to look like 851.
One aircraft that surprised me was the Vampire, how small it was. Because when I was in the Air Cadets,
It looks
one
terrible.
of our local squadrons, because it was on an airfield, the side of an airfield,
Mm.
they had a Vampire there, actually on the squadron as a training aid.
Yeah.
It was tiny.
One of the other aircraft we have at Fighter World is Australia's first Vampire built in Australia. It's the first, not only the first one built in Australia. Yeah, it's pretty much that's how Fighter World started. Is when it was retired, they put it out the front as a gate guard, and they had a couple of volunteers that would just look after it and sort of give it a clean every so often. They got together after about 20 years and said, you know what, we should put it undercover, and that's how it all started.
Yeah.
So again, it's one of their pride of place things.
Yeah.
And again, the F-22 pilot, he was so impressed with our museum because he hadn't seen. He's been to Australia a number of times with the F-22s, but
An aircraft that wasn't grey.
well, no, he hadn't seen a lot of those aircraft. Because he's based in a certain sort of state in America that's on the other side of. Well, it's closer to the west than the east, so he's not familiar with so many British aircraft because it's a long way to go over there.
Yeah.
But he loves Australia. His wife is Australian, by the way. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
So he took a group photo with all of us volunteers, and that's going to be on display apparently at the Pacific Aviation Museum at Ford Island in Hawaii, Waikiki. So that'd be nice. Well, Pearl City. God, this looks awful. Okay, that IPA is probably not working so well, so I'm going to go back to my original plan and use the Tamiya polishing compound and see what works.
Why not? Drop it back.
There's just a whole lot of gack on this thing. It's so old. I'm sorry?
My little Vietnam tree.
Ooh.
Oh, focus, you silly thing. Focus. Focus.
Hocus pocus.
Do you know what? I could just press the remote. There you go.
Ooh.
There you go. And it's all wire, you can bend them all out and stuff. It's cool. It's got texture on it and everything.
That's because you moved.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, this is for the Vietnam build I'm doing.
Oh, wow.
The Centurion, like your dad worked on.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, that's working. Wow.
Yeah, that's stripping it down to the plastic.
Well, it doesn't matter. If I have to repaint this,
You'd probably do a better job
high-speed
anyway.
silver, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
The only problem is, the only reason I haven't done that is these walkway stencils aren't on this sheet. So,
Yeah.
I don't have spares because I only come with enough to do the one on the FX kit.
Yeah. Jim says, "Good morning, chef." And he also says, "And good morning to all the usual suspects in chat."
Wow.
Black Hat says, okay, that makes sense. Cheers. And Jim says, "Pardon me, good morning, modders."
Morning, Jim.
And he says, "And good morning, evening to our gracious hosts." Such a lovely guy. Ivan says, "Good looking tank build, Mikey, mate. I'm doing a Tiger 1 at the moment from a I've got the Tamir Tiger. I've got to build that at some point." Yeah. So what I'm doing for this diorama, just so before we carry on, before I forget. So what I'm doing, it's going to be a Vietnam build. So I'm going to have the tree over here, like this, and I've made a little barbecue. It's going to have an Australian soldier stood there working on the barbecue. They're going to have some crates of beer, and they're going to be sat around like a little fire or something in the jungle because they're
Nice.
Australians.
That's what you do.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of making them Foster's bottles just to wind you up. There you go. Jim says, "I must get one of those voice command cameras, Mikey." Oh yeah, they're brilliant, mate. Julie says, "At work once we couldn't arrange a night out for the seniors at Cardiff pub. The pub was the old brewery. As I commented to the organizer, so we actually can't organise a piss up in a brewery." Jim says, "Ivan, will you put Zimrit on your Tiger?" They actually only a lot of people do that because they think it looks cool and it's historically accurate, but it's actually not historically accurate because there's actually very few of them actually had Zimrit on. They only put it on there for a very short period of time because they realised whilst it was good at stopping magnetic mines and stuff, it was absolutely crap at stopping things like sticky bombs and artillery shells and things like that.
Stopping artillery shells.
Yeah. So they realised it's a bit of a waste of time. So they might as well not spend the money. And it wasn't applied in the factory, it was applied in the field.
Yeah, I figured that much, but
yeah,
I don't know enough about it really.
Yeah. There's some interesting videos about it on Tank Museum YouTube channel.
I like that fanfare you provided then. That was classy.
Oh, it's just I do weird stuff like that when I'm trying to get my brain working.
Think. Yeah.
Ivan says, "It's good to see you, Mikey, with your wood in hand." Yes. We got spit, sausages, and wood so far. Very good. Julian says, "I think this reply had 2 words and the second one was off. Mystified look." Very good. And he says, "Good morning, Jim." Ivan says, "I don't know how to do it, Jim, and it never came with any in the kit."
There.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Jim says, "Zimrit was applied mid-1943 to September 44. I have read it was factory applied." So, would it have been applied to the Tiger 1 then? Because Tiger 1 was early war. I think, wasn't it? It depends which version he's doing of it. Julian says, looks at Ivan and waves bye as the level plummets again.
Yeah.
It didn't plummet again. It just never got off the ground or out of the gutter. Anyway. So that bit there has gone back to, I think that is resin actually.
Oh, there you go. I was wrong. I apologise. According to the Tank Museum, Zimmer was applied at the factory from August 1943 onwards and could also be applied by field units. Its use was discontinued in September 1944 because of rumours that it could be set on fire by shell impacts. This was tested and officially disproved.
Huh?
There we go. So, yeah, it was only actually applied for about a year. So most of the Tigers wouldn't have had it.
There you go.
Where are we? Black Hat says mid and late Tiger ones could have Zim depending on date of manufacture. Yes, they could. So, like I say, it depends on what version he's doing. Ivan says Julian, laugh out loud. Julian says, do you mean Tiger 1 or Panzer 1? Reference the early war. Tiger 1, that's what he's building. And Ivan says he's doing the early version. So, yeah, the early version wouldn't have had Zimmer anyway. There we go. We have our answer. Two seconds.
Thought I'd have a quick look at, this is the Bible, aircraft of the Royal Australian Air Force. So the Gloucester Meteor, all of ours were just silver, boring silver. Even more boring than the British ones, because the British ones, their squadron markings were different flashes and colours and stuff like that. And all of ours were just literally roundel. That's it. One or two, in fact, like these ones are the meteorites. Which was a couple of pilots got together and just did aerobatics in them, but it was never official because the planes were pretty bad at it. And that's it. So I was just going to see if there was a spiel in here about Sergeant Hale. I can't see it.
Jim says, I applied Zimmer with putty and troweled with a tool made by Trumpeter. Who the frig's Trumpeter? Ivan says, I'll look into it, Jim. Thank you. Words thereabout. Ivan says, coffee time. Be right back. Yes. I make sure to make my cup of coffee and I have my little ammo flask and I make that full of coffee so I can just top it up. Join the lives. Ooh, we have 13 people watching.
And no one seems to want to come on to panel.
I know, that's unusual, isn't it?
Oh, look, this is the actual aircraft there. A photo. That one there.
Oh, yeah.
851. So what it says there is Gloucester Meteor F8 A77-851 named Hailstorm, flown by Sergeant George Hale, served with number 77 Squadron in Korea, and is seen at Kimpo Airfield, armed with rockets for ground attack mission about 1953. Source Argus newspaper collection photographs, State Library, Victoria. There you go. Here endeth the lesson. Oh, and for those who either care or don't care, I'll tell you anyway. You've heard possibly that they call it the F-35, they call it 5th gen fighter. So for those who don't really know what that means, I can explain it in about a minute. I'll try to keep it brief, but get the the comment up. Are you finished yet, sort of thing, or talk faster. Right. So this is a 1st gen jet fighter. So when they talk about 5th gen, they're not counting things like Camels, Spitfires, and everything else came before jets. They're talking about jet fighters. So this is a 1st gen what that is literally the same as aircraft in the Second World War and everything else, but with jets. So the armament is guns or unguided rockets, and that's it. First gen. Second gen came very soon after this. And in fact, these were replaced by a second gen fighter. These were replaced in Australian service by the Australian version of the Sabre, F-86 Sabre. We call it the CA-27. What made it second gen is you had, guns, so jet and guns and unguided rockets and everything else, but the second generation is guided missiles. So for the first time, aircraft radar and everything else were hooked up to weapons, and that can steer them and sort of help track them and guide them and stuff like that. Third gen is that again, so jets and guns and guided missiles, but add to that the ability to have onboard navigation aids and different radios and direction finding and all that sort of stuff like that, starting to integrate more of these systems. Fourth gen is all that again. Add to that with GPS and the ability to have smart bombs and guided bombs. In fact, just exactly like what we're seeing here is a laser seeker head driven by the onboard laser system to have accurate weapons and everything else. Plus inertial navigation, all those sort of systems. So it's building on that, making it more capable. Fifth gen is what's going on now. So it's all that with a stealth coating on the outside to hide the aircraft from enemy action and all that stuff like that. Yeah. So that's what the gen things mean. It doesn't matter. In fact, the way it was described to me by a CEO of one of the F-35 things is, it's all a crock of shit. It's basically just a marketing ploy, officially Lockheed Martin, that the Pentagon is selling and all that sort of stuff to justify the huge cost of fighters to the American people. But there you go.
Excellent. Okay. So, what I think I might do is make some ration packs. Wait.
I need to rat through my decal box because I'm sure I've got these Hailstorm.
These little tiny beer bottles. From Tamir.
Huh.
Because I decided they're Australian, therefore they need beer.
Yeah. Like, duh.
Well, in your case, a box would do, wouldn't it? With your box.
Only the best.
In fact, I could actually do a box and make like a little tap to go in the front of it.
You could.
And have it rested on the side of the tank.
I'm just ratting through this looking for what's left over from my Meteor build. To see if I can just, because I didn't use a Hailstorm ones. I made mine the Geelong Flyer, so I've still got the Hailstorm decals, and I would also have the 851. So if that's the case, I'll be able to spray the whole bloody thing and start again and get it looking acceptable.
Well, the usual suspects here.
Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning, Jim.
Morning.
Good morning, modders. I'm still waking up, folks. I had a late start. I got up at 5 o'clock this morning. I better get that right, or the headmaster will have me in for a word.
Damn you, boy!
So the schools in England still have headmasters? I mean, in the UK period, do they still have headmasters?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Ah, okay.
But they just call them head teachers now.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
They're not allowed to call them headmasters anymore, or headmistresses.
Ah. All right. Well, I'm going to get myself my coffee. I'll be right back. I brought a couple of items for show and tell, too.
Oh, yes.
Thanks for having me on, everyone, and good morning to Mikey and to John and everyone in the chat. And yes, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
No worries, Jim.
We'll go through the chat, modders.
Okay.
Oh, that's a saw, not a knife. Hang on. Blackheart says Tamir has just released a new polyester putty, which looks like it would be perfect for hand applied Zimmerits. Watch this space.
Oh,
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
yeah.
Julian says the Tiger One began operations in 1942 in North Africa, so if Zimmerit was applied from 1944, the early ones didn't have any. Yeah, well, it was applied from August 43 to September 44. So yeah, the early ones wouldn't have had any. Blackheart Skelmore says, sorry, Zim, my fat fingers hitting the wrong keys again. It's okay, we knew what you mean. Jim says, correct, Julian.
Ow.
Columbus says, I might jump on Mikey in a bit. This is taking a whole new level. Currently swearing whilst masking this FW200 turret.
No, fair enough.
I like you, Columbus, but I'm married, dude. I'm now slightly scared. Especially since we talk very late at night. Jim says, as with any model project, your bench, your model, your rules. No need to do anything because someone else thinks you should. Exactly.
100%.
If you want to paint it bright pink with yellow dots, go for it. I said, you're more than welcome to come on whenever, Columbus.
Just not in that way.
Yeah. Please don't do that. It's scary. Julie says, Columbus, you may want an extra comma the way the stream level is dipping today. Jumping on Mikey could be slightly misconstrued. Yeah. How well you know us. Columbus said, who said I made a grammatical error? Oh dear. I'm getting scared now. Jim says, fair point, Jim. Your happiness with the results is the only yardstick that matters. Exactly. So you should try to, I think, maybe try to aim to learn at least one thing from each model you build. I think that's a good achievable goal.
Yeah.
Ivan says, KK, back. Cool. Timotei's in. He says, hello, I'm a bit late today.
Timmy.
Hello, Mr. Evans.
Yes. Are you coming up today, Tim? So we can see your nice ears, your kitty cat ears. Ivan says, hi, Tim. And Kaylee says, that paint we found, Mikey. Yes, we did. I forgot to mention it yesterday. I got the malachite green for the locomotive.
May I say something right here?
Yes.
That color description, the way you put it, it just sounds like that would be a posh version of some kind of other green color, like the forest green you mentioned yesterday.
It's actually a
malachite. It just sounds so. I'm not painting it forest green. I'm painting it malachite green. What's the matter with you?
Yes, 'tis the world of scale modeling.
Aye.
Ivan says we still have fans in Eton. We do. Ivan says, hi, Kay. And Kay says, hi.
Can't see those decals. I'm just going to have to take it easy with this.
Uh-oh. Did
Oh dear.
Mikey freeze up?
For some reason, no, his PC keeps knocking his camera and his mic off.
Not once yesterday when he was moderating Gary's show did he have any kind of technical issues. Was that because he was going through Gary's signal?
Possibly.
No, we don't know what it is.
I wanted to mention that yesterday, Mikey, but I didn't. I was having so much fun with everything else.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, mate.
You need to change your mic.
Sorry?
You need to change your mic. It's gone over to your webcam again.
Stupid.
That makes it easier. So, yeah, it is resin. That is heavy.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's a resin model, John?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Oh,
that's all right.
Oh, man. I've never wanted to build one of those.
Jim says, good morning, Kaylee. And Kaylee says, morning. Ivan says, hi, Columbus. Or Columbo.
Columbo. Just one more thing, sir. One more thing.
Yeah. Julian says, morning, Tim. He says, not on long as Mike give me a list of jobs to do. Aha.
Isn't that
No.
Isn't that honey-do list supposed to go the other way?
Well, she wants me to do a list of things like chores and stuff to do to focus on just for today. So, like certain tasks to achieve and things like that during the day. So we spoke about it and we come up with a list of 3 things, so that even if she just does them, she's achieved something. She feels like she's achieved something.
That's good. That's good. That's actually a very positive thing.
Julian says, hi, Kaylee. Timotei says, may do, Mikey. Just setting up my station. Excellent. Glad to have you with us. Dominique Sen, he says, morning. Good morning,
Hey, Dominique.
Morning.
Good morning to you in the Netherlands.
Black Hat says,
Yeah, sorry, I was just painting a straight line on my model.
okay. Black Hat says, random event from today, sitting at car dealership whilst car is serviced, I met an Aussie Vietnam vet. We naturally talked about our time in service. Turns out he loves scale modelling. What a nerd.
What a nerd. Sounds like a bloody legend.
2 hours.
Turns out we talked for 2 hours. That is a
Wow.
topic, actually.
That's great stuff.
That's a topic I wanted to bring up today, actually. I'll explain in a second.
Okay.
Julian says that's new internet is working fabulously, Mikey. I don't know what I don't think it's the internet because it's disconnecting from the computer. So I'm wondering if it's StreamYard because it doesn't do it on Discord. Didn't do it on Gary's.
Right. Yeah, you might be onto something. Yeah. Is there another medium you can go through for streaming?
No.
Okay.
There's OBS, but I'd only be able to stream myself. I wouldn't be able to have everyone else on.
Oh, I see. All right.
Yeah, but that would raise the production value, wouldn't it?
I don't know. Without you, Mr. Marley, I think we'd suffer greatly.
You're too kind and delusional.
Yeah, and the latter. Definitely.
Jim says, good morning, Dominique. And Ivan says, hi, Dom. So, yeah, what I was thinking about before was me and Julian were having a comment on. Oh, hang on.
About the internet?
Apparently, Kay was having trouble with her StreamYard last night. So, when she messaged him about it, she said you got to switch it off and back on again.
Right.
Thought I'm not doing that because that would stop the stream. So, conversation was.
Oh.
Yeah, get something out to work on too. It's one thing I did set up.
Oh, you're saying he shared some videos of the Midwinter Minis made, and he said he shows a bit behind the scenes about how we make YouTube videos and stuff like that. And I said, "Oh God, now it'll show how lazy I am." And he said, "No, far from it." Oh, cheers. And it got me thinking. I don't know about you guys, especially John, because you're the one that does the full show with me. But I find doing live. In fact, whilst Callum's come up, oh, and he's drinking. There's a surprise.
Yay!
Hello. Yeah. So I don't know about you guys that do YouTube, but I find doing live streams really exhausting. And I think it's because you're talking continuously for 2 hours straight.
Yes.
And I was looking it up, and the average conversation length is only 30 minutes.
30.
Yeah, so we're literally trying to talk 4 times longer than what is normal for people to do.
There you go.
Well, you need to maybe delegate some of the comment reading elsewhere alternately throughout the show, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not sure what to do. I mean, I want to start a channel, but I'm such a technology challenged person. I don't even know where to start.
You'll learn as you go along, I think, to be honest. You've got the personality for it, so.
Well, that I understand, and thank you for that, by the way. I appreciate that. But I mean, the technical aspects of like creating a channel, doing the work on the computer, submitting the video, editing it, all that stuff. I've watched a few videos on how to make a YouTube video, and frankly, I need to go back again and again and again. And I think I'm going to need to make some investment in equipment too.
So, Callum, I see it's 30 seconds since you last picked up a can. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing pretty well. Thanks. How's my mic sound? I'm trying out a new.
Sound a little muffled. Thank you, Tiffany.
One moment.
No, we can hear you fine.
It sounds a little bit like you're underwater.
Well, then we wouldn't hear him at all.
You can hear noise underwater. Sound travels better underwater.
But if you're above water, can you hear it?
Well, I don't know. Can you hear someone drowning going? Blah, 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 blah.
It doesn't last long.
Oh. Let's go through the comments. It's an interesting one I've just seen.
Yeah, let's look. There we go.
Where were we? June says, I saw a post yesterday from someone who made a list and labelled it Monday, achieved NAFL, so crossed out Monday and put Tuesday. Dominique says, hi, Jim and Ivan. Julian says, about teaching standards and history. Yeah, that was another conversation we had. And you'll like this one, Callum. I was talking last night on Mr. Evans' live stream about a thing when my stepson was in year 6 in junior school, and they were learning about the song Pack Up Your Troubles. And there's a line in it where it says, spark up your Lucifer and light your fag. And the teacher told them that it was about Satanism and wanting Satan to kill gay people.
Right.
And he told me that, and I went, what the hell? I was like, sit down, son. We've got to have a talk. If you feel like saying to your teacher, go and see my stepdad about history, then you're more than welcome. I will sit down and I will educate them. Yeah. So me and June were talking about that, and it's just got ridiculous education, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, you got to think about where these people are educated from. What the teacher, where did she learn, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That was a conversation I had today at Photoworld. One of the other volunteers was talking about his daughter in Teachers College, and I think we've mentioned this before. Tim, you're going to university as secondary teaching, from what I remember. Yeah, but certainly with Jana, everything has to have. It seems to be in the doctrine, I guess, the praeses and all that sort of stuff. So they don't have a conversation; they have a yarning circle and stuff like that, and everything is always tied back to Indigenous Australians. As much as possible, to the point where it no longer makes any sense.
Yep, that's the current state of play.
Tell us about how the dreaming relates to your life experience, and she's thinking, well, it doesn't. There's no. We don't have any Aboriginal origin in our family history. So it's everything she's learned is through schools, and not all of it is correct. Anyway,
Which raised the question, not Callum, Tim. How long are you going to survive as a teacher when you don't believe in all this stuff?
I don't know. I mean, politicians seem
to. Brain, aren't you?
Who says I don't believe in it? No. Looking around, I love the current regime. Easy. If I learned anything from my time in the military, it's how to shut up and play the game. So, I don't push it and I don't fight against it, and that seems to be going just fine.
Yeah, play the grey
Yeah,
man.
that makes sense. Yeah. So what you're saying is do everything that I wouldn't do. It's like, it's like, what would Jesus do? What would John do? And then do the opposite.
Yeah.
In
Pretty
other
much.
words,
Although
don't
I
be a
did get
gobshite.
picked up on a presentation for not doing the whole acknowledgement of the traditional owners and custodians of the land upon which we meet, and blah 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 blah.
Right.
And I was like, is that necessary? And they go, oh well, it's a nice thing to do. I go, but it wasn't in the rubric. Like, is it necessary? I go, well, technically no. I'm like, well, technically you can't mark me down then. They went, oh. But yeah, I don't know.
Did you do a
Pick your
mic
battles,
drop at the end of that?
Yeah. You pick your battles. Otherwise, it'll be a flash in a pan of a teaching career, I think. But
Otherwise you'll go from naught to Jordan Peterson very quickly.
as I am wont to do at family gatherings, if you ask me.
It's always fun, and generally, I think if we're standing in a yarning circle and holding a beer, there's lots of like little sort of swear words and stuff come out. It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. But there is a lull in conversation. I want to spark things up. My cousin Tom, I just kind of go fishing. I'll make a
Sonic.
fun
Good morning,
comment
sir.
about American politics or something, and throw that out there, and that generally gets him hooked.
How are you, Sonic?
Tired. Been up all night because I slept misty yesterday, so one of these things, man.
Coffee, Sonic, coffee.
A big mug of tea. And I mean, big.
Okay. You hear that, Callum?
Wow,
there are other drinks available.
There are. That is a big mug of tea. Oh, sure. I drank tea for a long time. My doctor has urged me to drink coffee for a long time. World's greatest. Hey, wait a minute. We may have a contest there, Sonic.
Maybe.
Maybe. After I have brand cereal.
You could probably fit a bowl of cereal in this.
Wow.
Well,
just
George Carlin, the late comedian George Carlin, used to say, someone when he was in the armed forces, when he was in the service, someone would go, and he'd say, "Captain who?"
Oh, I think I've read that one.
He says, as an enlisted man, he found that very funny.
Something said it referred to like little people's farts because that's about as big as fart is.
Let's catch up with the comments.
Oh, yeah.
Ivan says your aircraft build is looking good, John, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's not my build.
Kieran says, morning all. Good morning, Kieran. Sonic says, hi guys. Hi, Sonic.
Hey guys.
I need to go and wash my hands. I've got decals all over. Back in a sec.
Dominic says, you just love to talk, Mike. Very probably. Ivan says, hi, Sonic. My cat says, having done both live streaming and U10 content creation, I find live streaming more forgiving. Yes.
Really? Wow. I thought with content creation you can edit.
You can, but because of that, people expect a higher standard.
Oh, okay.
Whereas when
Hey,
you're
you
live,
tell that to my podcast community. They love our amateur status, I think.
Oh yeah, we still got a
otherwise.
range. We still got to have a chat about that, haven't we?
That is true.
I don't know what I'd say on it, to be honest.
Well, mainly we just interrogate the fuck out of you, base. Really.
Yeah, cheers, dude. Love you too. Kieran says, ooh, lovely looking meteor, John. So glad he didn't say spit. Kaylee says, Mike never shuts up. Yes, okay, thank you, darling. Frank says, hi all. Talking 2 hours is tiring. I feel Jim could talk for 8 hours straight without issue. Laugh out loud. No offense intended. Oh, look, Jim's not there. What a time to pick that comment. Julian says, I think regarding live streams, Mikey, it's also splitting your attention between all those in the stream and keeping track of chatters, so it's mentally tiring. Yeah. And when you're trying to make your models as well at the same time. Yeah. When you're trying to make your own model at the same time. Right. Jim says, is that an FW200 Columbus?
That it is.
Ooh.
The Trumpeter
What's going on?
172nd one. Great kit.
That's big for a 172nd, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's still smaller than the Martin Mariner I built.
Yeah.
But
yeah, but to be fair, most things are smaller than that.
She said.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we had a comment about you a minute ago, Jim.
I heard it, and I saw it before. I replied to Frank.
Just crying off camera.
Oh no, not at all. Like, in fact, it's considered quite complimentary.
June says the meteor looks fabulous, John.
Fabulous, darlings. Fabulous.
Yes.
Anybody remember that program? Absolutely Fabulous.
Yes. Abfab.
still watch it.
I remember the two of them are talking about something, and one says, "Oh, it looks very, very tacky," but I spent thousands. Oh, it's wonderful, dear.
Yeah. Dark Side says, "Hey, Sonic, kissy, kissy."
Hey, you kissy, 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 kissy.
Ivan says, "What the hell is that teacher smoking, for fuck's sake?" Yes, I was wondering the exact same thing. Junior says, "Morning, Frank." Jim says, "Hello, Sonic." Kaylee says, "Smoking Batty Boo." Laugh out loud. I have no idea what you're talking about.
No.
I love you, but I don't know what you're talking
teacher
about.
is smoking.
What is Batty Boo?
Jim says, "Hello, Frank Holder." No offense taken. There we go. Black Hat says, "Drink the Kool-Aid, Tim."
Yes.
Glug, glug.
Join the dark side.
Julian says, "No idea, Ivan, but she is the one who needs educating, not the pupils." Yes.
I second that one.
Sonic says, "I'm backstage." No, you're not.
No, you're up front, buddy.
Julian says, "Morning, Sonic. That's not a mug. It's a bucket with a handle." Laugh out loud. Jim says, "Morning, Kieran." Black Hat says, "Live streaming is unscripted and on the fly, so no one expects high levels of production. YouTube, on the other hand, yes." That's probably why I do better at live streaming than what I do at making videos. Squarish says, "I definitely find that doing edited videos takes a lot more time and effort, especially in pre and post production." Yes, they do.
No wacky backy.
Especially when your computer wipes all the bloody information out of them. Still haven't got over that one.
Clearly.
Kieran,
There are counseling classes you can take, Mr. Connolly.
I know. Kieran says, "Hi, Jim." And Squarish says, "As you discovered the other night, I have no issue talking for 4 hours. My longest session went for nearly 8 hours. Yeah, we played Candela Obscura last Saturday, and
Right.
Squarish is our game master, and we played for 4 hours straight. It was
Wow.
so good."
Have you considered running for political office, Square?
He's really good at narrating. And he comes up with
Yeah,
some really
narrating fantasy. He'd be perfect to politics.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of times where we actually broke him because we asked him questions that he wasn't expecting or prepared for.
Uh-huh.
So that was quite funny. But the rest of the time, he was absolutely brilliant. Dark Side says, Batty Boo, the wacky backy. Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
The good stuff.
The devil's
Yeah,
lettuce.
don't do that.
Smoke them if you got them.
That does nothing for me other than make me paranoid and hungry.
Well, I used to smoke that, but I can't do that anymore. If I was to rejoin that, I would have to do it ingesting it, either drinking it or eating. My lungs are just not very strong anymore. So,
No, I used to smoke it.
How do you
used to
cycle
smoke it with
30
you.
miles a day without having strong lungs?
breathing practices, my friend, breathing practices and intervals. You don't ride high pace 30 miles. You'll be worn out after 5 or 6. At least at my level, pro cyclists can do that for what can they ride? They can ride an average of 28, 30 miles an hour for 100 miles plus or whatever.
I'd be worn out after 5 or 6 yards. Let alone 5 or 6 miles.
Well, everybody's got to start, Mikey. If you keep doing it, you'll eventually, improve your conditioning and improve your riding skills, like modeling.
Yeah. Dominique says, question, what are you currently working on and what are you making?
Question.
So let's start with Tim.
I am working on this, which is a
This is
growler
Growler.
for my brother-in-law.
He's playing with his brother-in-law's growler.
Every time.
Take your building.
But yeah, so that's sort of coming along. So I'm going to have the ladder down, the canopy open, and flaps down.
Nice.
So yeah, just waiting on the decals and stuff before I start painting the main body, and I'm just painting the armaments and things at the moment.
He's playing with the flaps of his growler.
Columbus.
I cannot
Your
wait to
first
be
time
done with this.
So I'm working on this Focke-Wulf 200 Condor. It's the Trumpeter 1/72nd scale, which is literally their 48 scale down to 72nd, including all the interior details. So this thing is fully interiored up that you'll never see again. So I'm just working on all the little sub-assemblies and stuff like that. And I've also got, I like to work on more than one build at a time. So I'm also working on this Japanese harbor diorama.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
wow.
coming along very nicely. I've been keeping up on that. Yeah.
So the Agano light cruiser is now finished.
Hmm.
And then I'll
sexy
probably
ship.
start on the Shiratsuyu destroyer tomorrow, probably.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are the base of those already flat, or do you have to cut them down to waterline?
So they are waterline series ships, the Tamiya ones.
Very cool.
Stay. But yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Excellent. Sonic, are you working on anything?
I'm still. Well, I've not got any further on it, but
Oh, the
it will be
Mustang.
a plane eventually when it's finished. But
Yeah.
I'm not got any further on it yet. It's really fiddly.
You get used to it, mate. Don't worry.
Mustang.
Jim, you had some show and tell?
Yes. First of all, I just wanted to show this. We talked about Zimmerit earlier, and I had to back off because I started getting a little bit too knowledgeable about that stuff. Zimmerit gets me all into a real weird conversation mode, like, no, it was this, no, it was that. So I felt myself going almost borderline rivet counter, so I just had to shut up and back off. But I have these. This is what I bought years ago. Let me see if I can get. This is literally, it's made by Trumpeter. Many companies make them. It's a series of trowels that are made of plastic. They mimic the different patterns of Zimmerit that were applied by the Germans at different factories into different vehicles. So I bought that years ago. I'll put in Discord. I'll take some photos of the. There's a model in that display cabinet behind me. The one I hand applied Zimmerit to, which I believe is the best. If you look at reference photos of German AFVs in the field, it is sloppy as hell. They put that on as quickly and as as quickly as possible. So it's not even or well spaced or whatever. It's not square and nice. So whatever anyone wants to do with that, it's kind of like it's going to pass. So, and that's why I always urge anyone to try putting it on by hand. It's laborious, but it's kind of fun. But what I'm working on, well, speaking of German vehicle, is my Tiger still coming along on that. Put the photo etch screens on the back, the grills. The hull is just about done for right now as far as the small little parts that go in there. Going to go to work on the turret and then start painting everything when I've got all the assemblies done on that. And this is something I got out of the shelf of doom. This is the TACOM Grant tank, and wait for some track links. As I've mentioned once, more than once before, I screwed up big time on the Lincoln links, so they're gone. I don't have them, so I'm looking for other track links to get for it. But I started weathering the suspension on the bottom, and I'm gonna take do some highlighting on the colors on the top, the green and the sand colors, and yeah, and oh, by the way, Columbus, thanks very much for inviting me into your group build, World War I group build. It's great.
You got an invite, you bastard.
I'm sorry?
I said, you got an invite, you bastard.
Yes, I did, and I am a bastard.
I got told I expect you will be making some.
By the way, Mikey, that's Mr. Bastard to you. So, but yes, I did. Thank you very much for the invite. I still have to go get a model. I mean, I looked at my inventory. It's all World War II, so I've got to go out and actually buy one. I'm looking for the Tamiya Mark IV. I don't know if it's male or female tank. Mikey, I'm going to need your help on that. Understanding World War I armor. So
yeah,
but,
what do you need?
Okay, so here you go.
The first one I'd like to find out is do they even make it anymore? To me, it does sometimes discontinue things. I haven't seen Mark IV on modeling shelves in a long time.
Yeah, Tamiya don't make World War I kits at the minute.
Anyway, okay, that's me. I'm done.
Okay, cool. Next, we'll go to John.
So it is not the Tamiya one, but that's a male.
Yes,
in that
there we go.
It has
Right,
a 6-pound gun.
Right, with the cannons. Okay.
Yeah, big 6-pound gun from RN ships.
Right,
what I'm
Royal
told.
Navy. Yep.
And female is that side. So it's the Hotchkiss machine guns, 303s.
Okay,
so this one's a hermaphrodite, female on one side, male on the other half.
It is, of course, a post-April 1918 hermaphrodite tank.
Because it's got the markings?
Yes.
Right.
All
right, so what I read, and you can correct me, Mikey, or anyone else. So they started off with these, primarily males, and you can imagine these are going for, if you're a ship, you're going for other ships and all that sort of stuff. And what they found is there's nothing to shoot. Like everything is below ground in trenches or whatever, and there's no trees, there's nothing on the ground. Sure. So there was not much use for these. So then they went to more predominantly female ones, and these obviously machine guns were the weapon of choice when you're trying to shoot people, quick moving and everything else. So, all right. So what am I working on? This is it's a bit of a mess at the moment. This is I don't know. It's a 48 scale Gloucester Meteor F8, but I don't know what kit or whatever. It is resin, and it's old. It's probably 60s or certainly 70s, 80s anyway. And it was a bit of a mess. So the heat over the years had just basically corrupted all the decals and everything else. So Fighter World bought a new, well, I bought it, but they reimbursed me for a new sheet for new roundels to replace on those. So that's what I'm doing, is basically just trying to clean this up a bit, but it's not that great. There's bits it's a bit rough. You can see it was silver at one point under the roundels. It's still a bit sort of shiny, but Like there's no paint left where that one is. It's just the resin and everything else. So hopefully that'll be covered up. I've had a look around. I do have some decals somewhere, but I can't see them, so I can't just take them all off and just repaint a whole lot. So I'll just try to. Oh, it's got a rattle. Oh, just try to clean it up and go plonk, and that'll improve it.
Yeah.
So is that a personal one for you, John, or is that for Fighter World?
It's from Fighter World, and it'll go back in their cabinet. So it's not one I built. I've built one of these in the past, the same scale as the Airfix one. It's in the cabinet at 77 Squadron, so I can't even access it myself anymore.
Very nice.
It was. And I'd build another, but I think they're overly priced for what they are. They're a simple aircraft. And, it's a really nice kit, the Airfix one, but, there's I've built one, there's other things to build. Oh, and it's a 77 Squadron thing, and this is a 77 Squadron mug, because,
Oh,
why not?
nice. I like the logo.
Malfunction junction.
There we go. Yeah, just to add to... What are you putting on me for? Oh, I'm just making little ration packs. Little tiny ration pack.
Are there Tim Tams going in those Australian ration packs?
No. The Australians just had beer bottles.
That's all we need.
Yeah, just to add to what John was saying, another reason why they made them sort of hermaphrodite tanks is because they realised that the male tanks could not defend themselves against infantry very well.
Oh, right.
Whereas the female tanks couldn't defend themselves or couldn't destroy artillery or gun emplacements and things like that very well. They're only good against infantry. So the philosophy was the two of them go together so that the female can keep the infantry off the male whilst the male attacks gun emplacements and things like that.
Yes.
But what they realise is if they put a machine gun on the male tank can defend itself.
Right.
And they can just convert all the females into the same tank. Just put new sponsons on, which is what they did with Mark IIs.
Yeah.
Well, Mark IIs, some of them, they couldn't get the sponsons over to France quick enough, which is why sometimes you see the Mark II tank with just normal brown paint, but with a camouflage sponson, because it still had the Mark I sponson in some of them.
And the Mark II was technically a training tank as well, so it had no armor as well.
Yeah.
Like less than a Mark I. So those poor bastards.
See that hermaphrodite tank you called it? Was that the same? Was that the one that was the same tank that was in I think it's the Indiana Jones movie, where they were fighting and they fell on top of the track?
No,
that's a Mark 8.
Mark 8. Yeah,
which is what are they called? The Liberty tank.
Yeah, it's one that never actually saw war because it came too late. Yeah, it's the only attempt the Americans actually made to make their own tank, but they did it with the British.
And French.
So that other one was basically just a movie prop then.
Yeah, basically.
It was, but it's very, very close to a Mark 8.
Yeah.
Cracker of a movie, that one. Love it.
Junior says, how do you cycle 3 hours non-stop? A, downhill, laugh out loud. I'm pretty sure local gravity is broken. It seems to be uphill to Tesco and back.
Well, I don't. If that question's addressed to me, I don't cycle 3 hours nonstop.
There we go.
Oh, and also the Indiana Jones tank is not a Mark 8; it's a Mark 7.
Oh,
there we go.
Oh, you mean the one in the one with Sean Connery?
Yeah.
That tank is a Mark.
Yeah.
It's a Mark 7, not a Mark 8. Yeah, it's a Mark 7, not a Mark 8, and it has a improvised turret on top that is heinous.
Yes. Well, that explains why it looks so odd, though, because the Mark 7s never. Don't think they ever saw service, did they?
No.
They were just an experiment gone wrong.
What an educational live stream this is.
Well, that's because we've got Callum on here. He knows a lot more than most of me.
If you want to go weird for World War One, that's what you should go for. The tadpole.
Yes, the tadpole.
Oh yeah, that thing. Yeah.
Still holds the record for longest tank ever produced.
Yes.
Over 22 feet long.
Wow.
Wow.
And it was literally,
I did work it out for my video, but you know.
yeah. So
Wow.
you
Very
can
nice.
see, so it's around here the original Mark IV and Mark V would end. They added on this. These were actually conversion kits that they put on in the field to try, because Germans thought, hey, let's widen trenches. Tanks can't go over. The British thought, well, if we make it longer, might
Hold
work.
my beer.
The only downside is it was very flimsy. It was prone to twisting a lot, especially when it was trying to turn. So all of these areas would just twist and destroy themselves because it was too weak. And
okay.
because they just added onto the back, the engine's still here, right in the center. So the center of gravity is still here. So when
Right.
we try and climb, you need all this. You need the gravity back. But of course, it didn't have that, so it wouldn't climb anything, and it would just break itself. And eventually, every single tadpole conversion that they did, I think they did about 120 in the field, they converted them all back because they just went, nah, this doesn't work. And for
Okay.
some reason, they put a mortar in the back as well. I don't know
What?
for. My guess is probably just for lobbing smoke shells, just to provide cover, because you wouldn't use that for anything.
Can I ask a question there? Was that manned by someone, the mortar, I mean, was that someone on the outside of the vehicle firing that?
Yes.
All right, who draws a short straw to do that?
Probably whoever annoyed the commander of the day.
Yeah, I suppose. Oh, you go on the outside today.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go for something a little bit slightly more contemporary, the old whippet.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a whippet. Yeah.
A whippet, actually, if you're going to do a crew set for a whippet, you need double the amount for the crew, because they had 2 crews, because the conditions in here were so bad, especially with the exhaust coming through everything and into the hull. On one day you'd have 1 crew, and then the next day you'd have another crew, because the first crew are recovering. They got so sick.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah.
But yeah, those are my
Awesome.
2 World War I tanks so far.
Well, I've got my choice to build. That's for sure. There's since 2014, the modeling market for World War I armor has exploded, literally.
Yeah, I blame Callum.
I blame myself, and yeah.
I thank whoever started it, because it's an inspired idea. It's something that should have been addressed a long time ago, outside of 176th or 172nd scale.
I mean, Copper State Model's been releasing all those armored cars from World War I, which I've yet to get my hands on.
May I ask a question about those armored cars? Where were they used? I mean, if they're on the Western Front, they couldn't possibly be used driving over that godforsaken terrain.
Yeah, but don't forget that terrain was only like in no man's land.
Yeah,
I understand that. Yeah, but it seems like a Herculean task just getting them just over that stretch of ground.
They didn't leave the road much. We'll say.
Yeah, I would guess so, right? I mean, were they meant as like something like a post breakthrough weapon? Like once they were beyond the front line in the enemy's interior, they could accompany infantry or something?
Yeah, and don't forget, there's a massive road infrastructure and things like that behind the front lines as well.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was asking about. I mean, once you get, what was it used? Was its intention to be used as a like post breakthrough weapon?
Yeah,
I think you're looking as well as reconnaissance, because they
right,
especially in say the Middle East. Lawrence.
Oh, right. Yes,
they use them a lot there because you got vast deserts and stuff.
Right. True. Now, where did they make their premiere? I mean, were they designed with the idea of using in not on the Western Front, but in other theaters of war?
Well,
like the Eastern Front, the Middle East, something like that.
Yeah, they were used in the Middle East. The Australians were equipped with them. That were some of the units that were Australian operating in Egypt and the Middle East, in Palestine.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense being used out there. I could see that. Yeah.
Well, they were equipped with them. Sorry, go on, Callum.
I was going to say a lot of it is just mobile fire support, really. having 1 or 2 machine guns on it. That's all it really was. It was just
Right.
just a mobile pillbox, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it looks like it'd be a very effective weapon. I mean, seems to me that would be what you'd want moving along in a mobile kind of environment, something that could keep up and provide support and disrupt communications.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the Australian units that were issued them for Egypt found that they rotted too quickly, the metal and the chassis and things like that. So they got rid of them and they got Model Ts and converted them, stuck machine guns on them and things like that. So by the time they went into the Middle East, a lot of the Australian units had the became light car patrol units, which were
Model
predecessors to the
Really?
SAF.
Huh.
Yeah.
You mean like this?
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Yes. Yes.
There's
Unfortunately, they turn out to not be very good emu fighting vehicles.
Too soon. Too soon.
There's a video game like simulator at the moment of
emu simulator.
of the Australians versus emus. Like you can play as emus. You gotta peck people.
Oh, I'm guessing that's the Aussie version of the Afghanistan game then, Goat Simulator.
It's funny because
There's a good question in the comments. I think it comes from Chef. You might be able to. Well, this certainly would be a good one for Mikey, perhaps.
Okay, we will work through to it. Graham says, "Good afternoon, everyone. A bit late today. It's all right, Graham.
That's fine. Welcome."
Sonic says, "When the police are after you, Julian." Yes. Dominic says, "That is interesting, Jim." There we go. Ivan says, "Did the USA have a tank in World War One? They used the FT-17 mostly."
Although not officially, those were unofficial units.
Yeah.
Like they didn't actually get officially get FT-17s till after the war.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Because they had 3 years to prepare for the war, and over a year of watching the tactics in the war, and they still went, "Now we're going to try sort of mass walking into the machine guns."
Well, I mean, at least they stick to their guns. I mean, World War II, they did the same. They wanted to go straight into Europe. They said, "No, you're going into North Africa," and they did not have a good time.
Yeah.
Eyes closed, face first. Can't lose.
Yeah. Dominique says, "I like the Mustang P51B and the D."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Razorback fan myself.
Julie says, "Reference World War One tanks. If I recall correctly, originally they had trailing wheels, but they kept breaking, so crews took them off. Then later at Cambrai, the wheels weren't even originally supplied." Yeah, the trailing wheels were to help with steering. They were only put on the Mark One tank, and then they realised they were crap, so they didn't put them on any of them after that.
But the trailing wheels could also be raised for more maneuverability as well. They could actually raise the trailing wheels so they could turn them on themselves and then drop back down. Or if they were traveling long distances or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Or on trains and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were next to useless anyway, weren't they? So. Sonic said, "North American Mustang 4 is the plane I'm building." There we go. Junior says, "Yes, Ivan, the M1917. Jim says, "HMLS, Her Majesty's Landship." His Majesty's Landship, even.
So I got it right?
They didn't really put that on him.
Well, I saw one with that painted on there. I saw it on the Western Front Association. I was watching some presentation about armor in the First World War. One of them, I saw a photo of one, and it had HMLS painted on the very front where...
The crew probably put that on as a joke.
Probably so. But I was just curious if I got the acronym right.
Yeah, most likely. Black Cat says the Mark 8 is the International, I believe. It is. Because it is done between the British and the Americans. I think it was designed by the Americans, but the parts and stuff were going to be built in Britain or made by the British or something. Callum, you could probably correct me on that.
No, I think you're right on that one.
Woohoo! I got one right. Exchange. Julian says, in the original project, they called the tanks land ships, I think, to throw off espionage. Yes.
Yeah.
And it was organised by the Land Ships Commission, which was run by Winston Churchill.
Good old
He
Winnie.
was First Lord of the Admiralty. Wombat Model is in. Says, good day all. Hello, Wombat.
Hello.
You really wombat, mate?
Yoy.
Julian says, afternoon, Graham. Graham says, hi, Julian. Julian says, blimey, that's a big in Columbus. Tank, that is. Phew, that was close. Nearly back to the gutter again.
Oh, Julian.
Ivan says, hi, Graham. And Kelly says, great, I'm bloody stuck. Yeah, she's sorting out the cupboard under the sink, and she's got a little step that she sits on. But she squatted down to reach something in the sink and got stuck.
Oh no!
So I had to go and help her and lift her back up onto the step. Yeah, she's interesting, my wife. She's actually sat on the step in the kitchen, sorting the cupboard out, listening to us on her phone. Apparently she's stuck now. She's just shouting.
I can hear her shouting.
Take your
Callum,
time, Mikey.
Callum, do you want to go through some of the comments, and I'll go and unstuck my wife?
Sounds like the start of an interesting video. What are we up to? Chef says hi, Wombat. Graham says hello, Ivan. Julian says, Ivan, ignore me. Apparently the M1917 wasn't produced in time to take part in the war. No, even though it was called the M1917, the Americans, of course, have a wonderful naming system. That doesn't make sense. Jim says, hello, Graham. Wombat models. So this is what Callum looks like. Finally able to put a face to the voice. Yes, I know it's not much, but it's something.
I unstuck her. She was sat on the stool and she couldn't get up.
Oh,
So she just sat on the kitchen floor.
There's an old commercial catchphrase similar to that.
Jim says, hey, Wombat. Wombat says, hi, Jim. Sonic says, I'm so much for short ass. It looks like a huge mug, but it's the same size mug as Jim's.
Here, there we are. There's perspective.
Yeah. One is small, one is far away.
Normal, really. Look.
Katie says, sitting on step, can't get up. Yes, she was. Bless her. Julian says, hi, Dominique. Julian says, hi, Wombat. Graham says, hello, Jim. Ivan says, thanks for the info, folks. Very interesting subjects. Yeah. Julian says, BBIAS. Yeah. I like I was on a stroke trying to say it.
BBIAS.
Yeah. I think modders would probably translate that.
Be back in a sec.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Well done.
Look at me
John.
trying to sound like I'm up with the now speak.
Yeah, what's up, fellow kids?
Yeah, right. Yeah. See you later.
Yeah. See you next Tuesday. Ivan says, I got to go tad earlier today, folks. Thanks for the great cast, Mikey and Josh. Who's Josh? Do you mean John? Have a great weekend.
Why not?
All TTFN. Bye. See you later, Ivan.
See ya.
See you, mate.
Don't forget to hit the like on the way out. Dominique says, hi, Julian. And Jim says, see you, chef. Have a great weekend. And Scotland says, cheers, Ivan. There we go. Whew. Thanks for that, Callum. Yeah. So when's your next podcast coming out? There. Words up.
Next episode will probably be next week coming out.
Ooh. What are you
just
discussing?
'cause, don't know. Haven't decided yet.
Fair enough.
It's usually a few days before I'll be sitting at work absolutely bored, and then I'll decide something and start preparing slideshows and stuff like that for it.
Do you actually do any work when you go? Because you're always either looking on YouTube, looking for model kits, or
about 50% of the week at the moment. Industry's really, really, really slow right now.
Yeah.
So
What do you do, Columbus?
I'm a land surveyor.
Okay.
Yeah, and the building industry has taken a bit of a dive because.
Oh, you should come over here to
that
the
well.
States. In my area, they can't put stuff up fast enough. You probably get plenty of work.
Well, we're just about to acquire a 1,000 lot subdivision, so that will keep us going for about 5 years at least. But yeah, at the moment, I don't have much to do, so I'm usually sitting at my desk watching YouTube videos and just doing other life admin stuff that doesn't work. That the stuff that you don't want to do at home because you got other better things to do.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a joke that the surveying team that decided on the location for HMAS Cerberus, which is the Navy's basic training base, was Army team of surveyors because they built it on a mud flat and it stinks.
in case you wonder what I'm doing, I'm not painting my cutting map, by the way.
Yeah, what are you doing, by the way? Could you go big screen?
Yeah. Modders.
Fascinating, Captain.
So what I'm actually doing is I've got a square of Tamiya masking tape there, so I'm painting it with bone colour from Army War Paints, so that it looks like the brown tape that goes on ration packs, ration boxes.
Very good.
So I can cut it in strips and it look like the tape.
Yeah, I found Tamiya. I've got a couple rolls of Tamiya tape, 1 mil and 2 mil, and I find the 1 mil works great for straps on gear, just as your perfect size for 35th scale, or at least it appears that way to me. And then I just wrap it around it and paint it a brown off leather color of one kind or another. I mean, I've got a million browns in Vallejo paint, so I got my colors to choose from.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I love it. Yeah. To me, that masking Tamiya tape is very good. You gotta, if you're using it for masking on a model, I found out the hard way. You definitely gotta de-tackify it a little bit. Put it on your forearms or something like that. Take away its strength, or else it will pull up paint. I found that out.
I've been lucky so far with that.
Stick it under your arm.
I've become a convert away from Tamiya tape. I got Icky Sticky tape, Australian made. They sent me out. They sent me out this multi-roll.
Yeah.
Well, are you a lucky duck?
Does that work straight out? Does that work without having to do that silly ritual, Columbus?
Oh, it's much better than that. It's got a slightly lower tackiness to it. So, like Tamiya tape, I will guarantee to rip paint off.
Yep.
Icky Sticky tape, I have never ripped paint off with it.
Yeah, that's good. I've got a few Icky Sticky products. We've got a distributor here in the States. And I bought some of their epoxy putty. Oh, what else did I get? Oh, the CA Flexi glue, the 20 ml container, and it's the best one I've had in a while. It's ironic. You want a good super glue? Get Loctite at your average hardware store, and it works wonderfully. I mean, for like $2-3, I could buy a container of Loctite. It lasts almost until it's out.
All my Icky Sticky products, these are my little drill bits.
Yeah, Icky Sticky is good stuff. I'm really impressed. I plan on ordering more.
First I've heard of them. I'm going to have to look into it.
Icky Sticky. It's run by a lady called Monique, and she is wonderful. As far as I'm aware, like whenever I've ordered anything, she always has thrown something else in it.
Yeah. She's very good products. Very generous merchant. Very, very nice.
I tried to get her onto the podcast just to talk about all their stuff, but she was a bit reluctant to. She was a bit shy.
Right.
Well, she could go on just audio, no picture.
We've got some more comments already. Should we get Tim to read them out this time?
Could do. Where did we get up to?
Modders just put it on the screen.
Gramo says, so long, Ivan. Mr. Paul Price says, evening all.
Ian Paul, new to the channel, I believe.
Wombat chimes in with, yes, Callum, the icky sticky tape is great stuff. And Dominic says 2mm Tamiya tape is also good for seatbelts in an aeroplane.
Oh, I meant that for.
Follows that up with, I also think it looks good, but the import costs are just ridiculously expensive from Australia.
Yeah, that's fair.
Paul says, long time icky sticky user.
Ooh.
And Jim says, see you Saturday, Sunday for Jason's live chat question.
Yeah, that was meant for Wombat.
We'll go through all of your personal messages.
Hey, Paul.
Read them all out. Paul says, yes, second time watching.
Ooh, excellent.
Good old
Glad to
Paul.
have you with us.
And then Jim just, stating that was a PM for Wombat.
Yeah, just so you know, I'm a regular guest. Jason Bailey's Aussie Scale Modeler live show. He's doing it 6 p.m. Sunday Australian time, which is 3 a.m. here for me in the central United States. And yes, I am crazy enough to be up at that time and tune in. But I'm a regular guest on there. So,
do you ever actually sleep, Jim?
yes, I do. It's all broken up. I used to have, when I was working. I'm no longer working. But when I had a day job. It was an early shift. I wound up waking up between the hours of 4 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. on a regular basis, even on weekends. So once I stopped working, the sleep schedule kind of went out the window, but I still have a tendency to wake up between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m. It's just kind of burnt into the body clock is kind of set that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've just seen a bin lorry just go really fast up our street. I don't know why. Maybe there's an emergency bin collection or something.
Sanitation waits for no man.
Maybe Kay is just flogged a vehicle.
Maybe
Dominic
she's
says,
still
hi at Paul.
Yeah.
Wombat says, yes, Jim, I'll be there. Paul says, Dom, get in touch with Moz. Jim says, hey there, Paul. Paul says, hi, Jim, 5 p.m. this Sunday.
Okay, so it'll be 5 p.m. That means wait a minute. Now I'm all screwed up. Hold on, I got to calculate. 15 hours behind that is when I'm going to be there. So I gotta figure that out.
Kieran says, for cutting thin strips of tape for seatbelts, etc., I use the Infinity cutting board.
2
They
a.m.
make it very
Okay, so it's
easy.
an hour early. All right. Okay.
Jim says, thanks, Paul. Paul says, hi, Dom. And Wombat says, oh, if it's 5 p.m., I may be there a little late. Depends on when the daughter's cricket game finishes. And that is caught up with the comments.
Thank you.
So professional, Tim.
Yes.
Yeah. So much more professional than me.
I didn't cuss anyone out or talk about politics or nothing. I'm growing as a person.
Well, for one thing,
Growing
the
as a
signal is consistent. The problem Mike has is that suddenly he's in the midst of a sentence and he freezes.
Yeah. Are you sure you're ex-Navy, Tim? Or are you born again Navy?
No. Why is that?
Because you didn't swear or anything.
Oh, I know, right? That's why I keep telling people I've got 3.5 years left of uni to fix my sense of humor before I get in front of a classroom and get dragged in front of a human rights council and shot.
A load of parents drop their kids off at school, like their 10-year-olds off at school, all innocent and sweet, and come out effing and blinding and talking about the war.
Yeah.
tattoos,
And the Navy took on Nelson's Navy, and
sucking on Pusser's rum.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't even know what a greenie is, but apparently they're lazy and need to get out of bed.
They still issue rum in the Navy?
No.
They stopped it was it the 70s, the 80s in the Royal Navy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
For the
probably
North-
stopped at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah.
New Zealand Navy, we officially stopped the rum ration in 2007.
Well, New Zealanders are a bit behind everyone else.
No, we're just
Well,
a bunch of pissheads.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to. I think the New Zealanders were hanging on to the good thing as long as they could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we're traditional. Yeah, we like good traditions.
Yeah.
And also, isn't that like half the reason you join the Navy is Navy?
Yeah. Well, I've got a book called what's it called?
Cat in the Hat.
The Tommy Manual. And, oh dear. It's called the Tommy Manual, and it's made from all the field manuals that were issued to the British Army during the First World War. And there's actually a section on how to do the rum ration, and it said it has to be done first thing in the morning after stand 2, which actually makes perfect sense because they had to be alert at night, but then they had to settle down and just do normal routine tasks during the day. Jim says, figured it out, 2 a.m. my time, Paul. There we go. And Kaylee says, certainly. Okay. And Dominic says, oh, I also had times that I got up at 8 a.m. and went to bed at 4:30 a.m. Then I was up for 21 hours. I don't do that anymore. I'm getting older too. Yeah, I still do that. Not the 21 hours bit. I just only sleep. Sometimes I only sleep for like 2 or 3 hours. Depends when the wife wakes me up. Doesn't it, Kaylee, darling? Wombat says, my youngest daughter is contemplating joining the Navy when she finishes high school. I've had to warn her about them. Paul says, well, it's raining in Sydney again.
Is it? It's not raining here, but I'll have to look at the radar.
Constellation. It's gorgeous on the Sunshine Coast.
Actually, speaking of a 4:30 a.m., I've got to do in about a month. I'm going to have to do one of those very long traveling days when I go to Canberra for Scale ACT.
Oh,
my flight out of here is about 7 a.m., so I've got to leave the house by about 4:30 in the morning, sort of thing.
Good.
And then
it's a big band brain.
Yep. Then I got to fly to Sydney and then catch a train to Canberra because that's a lot cheaper than flying into Canberra. Canberra is ridiculously expensive.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, Auckland to Canberra is $1,500 there and back. To Sydney is $500.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's the same for us domestic as well. Like when I was living in Canberra, we would drive 3 hours up to Sydney if we had to fly anywhere because the connecting flight would just double whatever the cost was for 20 minutes in the air.
Yeah.
That's
so
ridiculous.
so then I got to do the train to Canberra. So I think by the time I actually get to Canberra, it's about 5 in the afternoon. So, yeah.
Wow. That's ridiculous.
Really is.
I'm sure he'll have plenty of cans of energy beer.
That's going to be a total boys' weekend. Because I'm going to also stay on to see family that I've got living in Canberra. But I've given myself a day between hanging out with the boys and then going to see family just for recovery.
Yeah.
Maybe a day might not be long enough.
Well, at this stage, like on the Saturday night, I'm going to a show at the Sydney Opera House. No Such Thing as a Fish. But I mentioned that to Bron the other day that that weekend is a scale ACT, and she said, "Oh, you going down the Sunday?" And I was, "Oh, don't know. Yeah, not really sure." Now as it's getting closer, it's like Telford. I'm thinking, yeah, I should really go.
Yeah, you should.
Although no such thing as a fish live are really good. I've seen them in Auckland do a show. They're really good.
They're funny.
Did I hear you say you're going to the Opera House, John?
Yes.
How posh?
Well, not really. They don't often do opera these days. But I have been to a couple of operas. They've been bloody good, actually.
I like opera.
I'd like it if I could stay away.
Depends what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the Barber of Seville. That's brilliant. So funny.
Oh, the Warner Brothers one. Yeah.
Kill the wabbit. Kill the wabbit.
Kill the wabbit.
Don't be singing.
No, that couldn't be mistaken for
less
song.
than 15 seconds.
Kaylee says the cheek of him. Yes. I'm not being cheeky. Black Hat says lovely clear night here in Brizzy. Nice. Clear day here today as well. In Wales. Jim says, so a CCB24 at a model contest yesterday. Took a photo and we'll email it to Jason for Sunday's show. Excellent. Wombat says, not too bad here in Victoria, Geelong. It booked it down earlier, this Arvo, but it's quite pleasant now. Excellent.
Go Cats.
At least you're getting plenty of rain over there now.
Send some our way. We're in a drought.
I live in Wales. If we have sun, if we have a sunny day, that's our summer. Even if it's December, we consider that our summer. Paul says, thanks, Jim. Still waiting for decals for mine. Blackheart says, yeah, flights are so expensive to Canberra. I'm driving from Brisbane to Scale ACT. Wow. I'm driving to Telford, but that's only an hour and a half. Kate says, it's lovely and sunny here. It is. And I'm sat inside doing a live stream. Paul says, nice looking Mark 8 Meteor. It is.
Thank you.
So I'm guessing anything under 500 kilometers is short or local distance in Australia.
Yeah. Practically next door neighbours.
It looks big on a map. It must be enormous to travel from one East Coast city to another. Never mind across country.
Yeah. Well, I went from where I am on the sunny coast to my mate who's down at Tweed, like for a day trip, and that was I think 3 hours each way.
Wow.
And that is in relations to distance, from where you are at to where he is. What are you talking about? Like, is that within one certain state, or is that from going?
Yeah, that's Queensland to like Tweed is on the border between. So half of it is in Queensland, half of it's in New South Wales.
Yeah.
So
Cool,
it was very interesting during. Very interesting during COVID because they put barricades.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Different states had different rules.
Yeah, different states had different rules.
Similar thing happened over here, right? Because England and Wales are separate countries, there's a village or a town not far from us, village, where the main road goes along the border, and the border is actually the centre line down the road.
No.
So one road, the house on one side had to stick by one set of rules, and the house on the other side had to stick by another set of rules.
Yeah.
And they weren't allowed to cross over to speak to each other.
Another fun difference between Queensland and New South Wales is Queensland doesn't follow daylight savings, whereas New South Wales, for half the year, wind their clocks forward or backwards or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So during daylight savings time, Queensland will be an hour different to the other side of the pitch,
Yeah.
which is kind of
Yeah,
fun.
that's how it is in the state of Arizona. They voted in their state assembly to not observe daylight savings time. So they're constantly on standard time, which I believe
Right.
we should have. We only move it back and forth for 4 months now. It's really not worth it to me, but that's how it is. I just assume keep it on standard time.
Paul says, nice looking meteor. Yeah, we read that one. And he says, 500 kilometers, Jim, is a day trip. If you drive for about 4 hours in the UK, you end up at the other end of the country.
Yeah.
Wombat says, I'd love to go to Scale ACT, about 7.5 hour or 8 hour drive for me if I do it, though. Wow.
Woo, doggy.
You could get to France from here in that time. Black Hat says, when I lived on the Sunshine Coast at Noosa, I drove to work in Brisbane City 4 days a week, 90 minutes plus each way.
Yeah, it's gross through North Lakes. The traffic for no reason slows down to a halt.
Right.
Wombat says, I work at Melbourne Airport and it's a minimum 1 hour, 15-minute drive each way each day for me. Wow.
It's the ring road.
Yeah. Black Hat says, Wombat models, you are crazy as me.
Yeah, you Australians pack up the miles on your vehicles.
Something like that.
Or the kilometers.
Yeah, but I don't like spending time on the road, so I try to live as close as I could to whichever posting I was in or whatever, which is why I am where I am now. It's probably a 12-minute drive to the RAF base. Yeah, much better.
Just ride a motorbike. Saves so much time.
Yeah, well, I've got the scooter, so yeah.
You can't run down. You can't run down wildlife with that, can you?
Oh no, I've tried. Bastards.
Wombat says, Black Hat, I used to work in Hallam and it was 2.5 hour drive each way, would blow out to about 3.5 hours on Friday Arvo after the footy was on, or when the footy was on.
There you go. I used to live next door to Hallam in New Memmering.
Yeah, there we go.
The size of the UK, though, Mikey, is fantastic. The last time I was there for a holiday, I think in a day we did spent the morning in Bath, went up through the Cotswolds to Stratford-upon-Avon and across to Nottingham and went to Warhammer World and stuff, and then went to our friend's house in Lincoln.
Yeah. My stepbrother lives in Nottingham. He's a headmaster in a school there. In a junior school.
Much with the area.
Awesome.
And I did my pre-deployment training there before I went to Iraq. There you go.
Just fighting locals.
Little bit of brown tape over.
That looks mint.
There you go. So little brown tape over the ration pack.
Looks very good. Excellent.
Yeah, nice.
There you go. We're at 1 hour 54. Black Hat says, at least you weren't in Frankston.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you guys. Which has a bigger landmass, the UK or New Zealand?
Ooh.
New Zealand, I'd say.
I'll go with New Zealand. That's my guess.
Yeah, I'll say UK.
New
Yeah,
Zealand
I'll
has
go
a bigger
New Zealand.
landmass than the UK does. New Zealand is bigger than the UK.
Yeah.
This is no one
UK's,
like.
I think, about the size of Victoria in Australia.
It's about the size of the state of Idaho.
Less potatoes.
The land of
More
potato. Yeah.
Roughly. I mean,
Yeah. We're about.
So what are you trying to say, Callum?
40,000
Is yours is bigger than ours?
Yeah.
Look at him enjoying that beer.
oh,
Why do you think New Zealanders are so popular around the world?
I thought that was the Italians.
Because they think you're all little fluffy birds, flightless birds.
I had one person ask me, they said, so is being called a Kiwi like a derogatory term? We're sitting there going, no, we kind of prefer it, actually. Like, if you say New Zealander, it just sounds weird. It's a bit too many syllables, just Kiwi.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some other names for them.
We just call John bastard.
Well, apparently they've got a lot in common with Aussies, the Welsh, and Aberdonians.
Aberdeen. I love how you name a few countries and go Aberdonians.
I always wondered about the term Canuck, but apparently it's okay because there's a hockey team named the Vancouver Canucks, and they've been in business for over 50 years. So it must be. I had grown up thinking that was a derogatory term for a Canadian. Kiwi, I was about to ask about. I was going to ask that, not now, but I mean, it always crossed my mind. Is Kiwi something that's meant to be a term of endearment or meant to be like a reference, kind of like how New Yorkers refer to New Jersey?
No, a New Zealander, you call us a Kiwi. You know, that's how we identify ourselves.
That's their chosen pronoun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I agree. It sounds easier to say than New Zealander.
Yeah. Don't know where it
Kiwi
came
and
from,
Kiwi
but
South.
it's just something that stuck, and that's just what we prefer now.
Well, isn't the bird indigenous to New Zealand?
Yep. And very much on the endangered list as well. So
Oh,
we have
bummer. Cute little
we
bird.
have
I like it.
we have whole islands dotted around New Zealand that are just bird sanctuaries for Kiwis. You can't even take a boat out to them. You're not allowed to land on them.
Okay.
Sort of thing.
Well, that's good.
Little drumsticks. It's
Paul
funny,
says-
of course, that they have a flightless bird in the middle of your Air Force roundel, but
I think it looks
You've got a
cool.
kangaroo. Why?
we do have a kangaroo. Oh,
Hey, at least
yeah,
ours is somewhat connected to flying, even though we picked the one that doesn't.
yeah.
Still, it's better
Yeah,
than what we had in
just-
Vietnam. All our helicopters they had to change over to the Kiwi on Hueys because they used to have the silver fern,
Yeah.
except everyone thought it was a white feather.
Oh,
Yeah, so we had to change that.
Yeah.
that's just so cruel.
Yeah.
Paul says, Jim, my 10-year-old Colorado has 315,000 kilometers, and the 14-year-old Commodore has 173,000 kilometers. Wow.
Yeah.
That's some very endurable.
Holdens
That's
don't-
some very durable vehicles.
Holdens don't die.
For my phone.
Stuart says, hi guys, sorry late, a lot of pain in foot today. Oh, hope you feel better soon.
Yeah.
Jim says, Stuart, feel better soon.
Stuart.
Stuart says, new thing, Jim, if he keeps on going and going to see the doctor. Yeah. Good idea. And he says, hot searing pain under the toes. Ooh.
Not very.
Would it be
comfortable.
peripheral neuropathy? Perhaps. Do you have diabetes? That would explain it. Black Hat says, Kiwis love kiwi. Just don't mention the sheep.
Well, that's what the Scots and the New Zealanders then have in common. Are there a lot of sheep up in Scotland?
No, just people wearing funny skirts. Just little men with orange beards and funny skirts.
You said it. I didn't. I'm not getting into that.
Orange?
Stuart says no diabetes diagnosed. Interesting.
Okay. Well, take care, Stuart.
I can't even dispute the sheep thing because my Facebook page profile is literally me carrying a sheep across a paddock. Yeah, Mikey's seen that one.
What's that, buddy?
Well, you'll always have warm clothing available. That's for sure.
What have you been showing? What are you claiming to have been showing me?
Oh, my Facebook profile pic. One of me with the, I call it me and the missus.
Yeah.
Just
I was
got
half
it.
tempted. I was half tempted to when I changed it to that. I was half tempted to change my status to in a relationship.
No, what you should have put is it's complicated.
It's complicated.
I think
Very
last
good.
time we were talking about New Zealanders, I'd said that Australians always get on pretty well with them, and then John came in and said the most horrific stuff about Kiwis and said that like he can't stand a lot of them, and you know.
John insults everyone.
Would I do a thing like that?
Funny thing is, when I was traveling in Europe and being in hostels, it was mainly Australians that I'd hang out with just because we're so similar.
Yeah.
And people were confused by that. It's like they say, "I thought you guys hate each other." It's like, no. It's like we get on well. Just do not mention sport.
Or Pablo.
Black Hats. Julian says, I'm sure it says, not rich enough for gout. Julian says, back for a few seconds as it's 1,300 hours. Yeah. I was down for another few minutes. Black Hat says, my favourite Kiwi joke
is...
he says, why don't Kiwi men take their wives to the cricket? They're sick of them jumping the fence and eating the grass.
That's a good one.
Stuart says, hi, Julian. We got, it was 19, but we got 17 people watching. If all of you liked it, like the live stream, then that'd probably be my most liked live stream so far.
I liked it twice.
Oh, well, there you go. You've unliked it.
No. 2 separate apps.
There you go.
On the phone and on my television. In fact, 3 because I'm on my computer right now. If I wanted to, I guess, right?
Yeah. It depends.
But I'm in Chicago, so I'm used to voting twice.
If it's the same profile across the different mediums, then if you do like on phone and then like on your TV, then it'll just count it as an unlike because it's the same profile.
Yeah, it's got to be different profiles.
I mean, I have about 3-4 YouTube profiles that I could easily just log into all of them and fiddle with the figures.
Fiddle with the figures. I like that. That's catchy. Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me go back to this for a moment. Go out of that. Yeah, I got it liked here on my app on my phone. So if I did like it on my app on my TV just a moment ago, so it would have unliked on the phone. Or am I confusing myself? Yeah. Probably confusing myself.
If you're using the same profile,
right?
You go on the phone and like it.
Yeah.
If you go on the phone and like it, and then go on a TV and press like again, it'll unlike because it's the same profile.
Okay. All right, I'm looking at my TV, and it's got a like on there, and it's got a like on my phone right now. Are you talking maybe post broadcast? It'll subtract one of them, or does it do it currently? Real time or something? I don't know. Doesn't I liked it so.
You confuse me now, Chip.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, I don't know, but I always like your program every time I'm on, Mikey. So just rest assured, I do.
So, Mikey.
Yes, John.
We're up to the 2 hours now. It's your channel. Are we going to crack on for a bit?
Well, Tim's busy shaking his hand very vigorously in front of himself.
Sorry. Well, I got to do it on camera, otherwise
it's up to you guys. How do you guys feel? Do you want to carry on
I'm
a
happy
bit
to stick
more?
around. Yeah, because there's other stuff I could do. I can keep going with this.
Yeah.
Carry on, mates.
All right.
I just want to say this is one thing that I bought as a paint shaker. This is it's about $100, but it was worth it. It's meant to actually be used, I think, in labs. This is meant for like test tubes. You put it on there and it just vibrates the shit out of the bottle and shakes it up. It's one of the best investments I made in as far as tools goes. Works great.
I need to disappear for a few secs. I didn't
Basically,
need to go to
Mikey, yes, it is.
Just don't sit on it, Jim. Dark Side says, "Woohoo! My carpet." Oh dear, it looks wrong as well. Can you hold that up again?
Well, I'm gonna go make some coffee anyway, so I'll BRB.
Jim. Oh, he's gone. Dark Side says,
Mikey, what's up? What do you got?
I was gonna say, hold it up to the screen so that the lads can see it. What it looks like.
Here we go.
Face green face towards us. There we go. Nope. So the top's facing towards us, Jim. Yeah, that doesn't look dodgy at all.
My ex-girlfriend bought something like that a while ago.
Like an alien butthole. Dark Side says, "Woohoo! My carpet has been shipped."
Hooray!
Stuart says, "Is it a wool carpet at Dark Side Scale Modeling?"
Hey, you leave my missus alone.
Paul says, "Jim does that a lot." Dark Side says, "No, it's not wool." There we go.
So you're safe, Callum.
Wombat says, "I thought you used that on your OnlyFans, Jim." And Paul says, "White and 2, thanks, Jim." I see what you mean. It's brew. All right, I'm going to make one more box. I think I've got time for that. What we'll do, John, is if we're carrying on for a bit, we just won't do Sharp today. We'll do it next week.
Okay.
Yeah, Julian. Yeah, you can get these just about anywhere. That's where I got mine, is from Amazon, which I think is where the whole world's going to be shopping. But within the 5 years, we'll all be going to Amazon because they're going to own the world.
So, Callum, what are you working on other than beer and hates and sheep?
Large seam line that I've just noticed.
Oh,
yeah. There is a lot of seam lines on this kit.
Are you drinking yourself to clear vision? You didn't see it before. Maybe that is the key. We need to do a live stream where we're drunk. Maybe our modeling will improve. Although
I mean, if you want to be demonetized, yeah.
I don't know. I've seen people. To be fair, I'm not monetized anyway.
Yeah. To be fair, my podcast hasn't been taken down on YouTube, so we're all right. We can get away with a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to try and censor Garrison, one of the guys. The only problem is he's an ex-Marine, ex-US Marine. I spent half my time editing, removing all the stuff that I deemed couldn't go onto YouTube. Eventually, I gave up.
Yeah, it's pretty much he going, "Hi."
I mean, I do take out some of the really bad ones. They go on our Patreon.
Julian says, "Jim, there are a few of those paint shakers on Amazon. Moz 65100 reviewed one a week or so ago on his YouTube channel. Was Moz a veteran or something?"
No.
So what's with the 6510? Has he explained that?
Yes, it is a timer, integrated circuit chip.
Ah, okay. What a strange thing to pick your name after, but if it works, it works. Dark Side says 2 and Coup. And she also says, "I'm sure I suggested a drunk live build. You did indeed." Paul says, "My camo scheme painting improves with bourbon." Yeah. I've never been a fan
telling
of
yourself that, mate.
I've never been a big fan of bourbon. I prefer proper whiskey. Oh,
yeah, you would.
That's a way to insult the Americans.
Well, I'd prefer a whiskey to a bourbon, but bourbon is, yeah, I'm not going to knock it back if somebody offers
I don't
me
care
one.
about it. I don't drink it at all, so it doesn't matter.
We are no longer friends.
I hate you. Yeah, no, I like a nice single malt whiskey, like Penderyn or something like that.
Penderyn is bloody good.
It is, and they make it down the road, not far from us.
I mean, you think I talk a lot with caffeine? You put some whiskey in me, and you won't shut me up.
I gave a bottle of Penderyn to my father-in-law shortly before asking him if I can marry my now wife, and he called out and said, "Katie." So yeah, it's like, I've just traded you for a bottle of whiskey.
Bribery always works.
Yeah, my mother-in-law said, "How many camels?"
Yeah, good, right? Well, at least I understand the assignment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bloody, she's a good catch, Tim.
Better
Both of Penderyn and Katie. Yeah.
Because you needed John's approval.
No, nobody needs my approval.
I do. I crave approval. I'm only joking. I don't. I really couldn't care less. Black Hat says Drunk Live bills were good enough for James May and Richard Hammond, so yes. I think it would be fun. But we'd have to pick some pretty simple kits.
No, I propose you up it. You have a few drinks, and then you start on one of those Meng or RFM kits, those 2,000, 3,000 parters. There you go. You want to really challenge yourself.
No. What we do is we pick a 1/1200th ship for Callum. So that he has to work on really, really tiny pieces. Well, again, that's normal, isn't it? That's just your normal modelling.
Well, put it this way. I had to build this out of 5 pieces.
Oh yeah?
What is
and
it?
It is it's a Dave biplane, Japanese.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see, but I also added the wing braces myself with stretch sprue because they didn't have it, and it just looked, even in 1/700, it looked wrong without it. So,
hey, take a photo of that and put it on your
that's our photos.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
it's that small. The camera can't focus on it.
No, that problem.
Oh, sheep.
Very, very impressive, Columbus. Very impressive. I like that.
Julian says, I think that using that shaker in a live stream would be not so much OnlyFans as OnlyFannies.
It's not me today. See?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I'm not doing it. I just showed the tool I'm using. Now all the comments come out from Mr. Connolly.
It wasn't me. I was just reading them out from Julian. Don't be blaming me. Bloody hell.
Well, someone showed the tool.
Not my fault.
Not that tool, Sonic. Not that tool. No. That's a sure way to scare away everyone.
Wombat says, can't do whiskey anymore. Led to too many questionable life choices. Whiskey led me into one of my most one-sided fights ever when I was in the pub. It was brilliant.
Tell us about it.
It's like you have a choice.
Yeah. It was when I was in my early 20s, and I was stood outside in the smoking area, and I had my glass of whiskey in my hand, and this lad that I knew came up to me and said, I bet I could kick your ass. Even though you're a soldier, I know I could kick your ass. I went, all right. What makes you think that? He said, well, because I do martial arts. I said, oh, okay. Well, show me. He went, seriously? I went, yeah. So he went to strike me, and I gripped hold of his neck and put my leg behind his and just threw him onto the floor. And just as I did that, the landlady came out. She went, what's happened to LJ? I went, he's just been a knob. And then just walked in with me whiskey. Just walked off and left him there. It was fun. Jim says, very good, Paul. Jim says, I just said to a carer that I don't have a name. It's more like Russian roulette with direction. Just stay still and hope you're not in the direction whatever gets thrown. David said, Mikey, why do you crave a poodle? What are you on about? That's Callum's sheep. That's Callum's missus. You can't be calling her a poodle. And I believe in the commandments. Thou shalt not covet another man's sheep. Just because
I mean, it is hard to pick her out from a flock.
Well, yeah. Yeah. You never know with identical twins, do you?
Oh, stop it.
Never tell Mikey to go flock himself. He just might.
Just 'cause I'm well. And there's more sheep in Wales than there are people. Black Hat says, build a dragon armor kit and they'll be swearing within 15 minutes. I've actually got the M3 half track.
Yeah, I've got one as well.
I'm supposed to
I love dragon kits. I know they're a pain in the ass, and the directions really are one of the worst. But I've got a lot of them actually in my stash.
Well, the one I've got, I'm going to be converting into a Remy fitter truck.
Really?
Yeah.
Half track?
Yeah, because after the war, the Americans had loads of them left, didn't they? So they gave about 100 or so to the British. So they gave the British Army gave some to the Remy and said, "Oh, you can use them to put the tank engine in the back, and then we'll fit a crane, and you can use it to change tank engines when you're in the field." And the Remy went, "Sod that! Why are we putting a tank in the back when we can put the tank in the engine in the trailer, and we can convert the back into a camper van?" So they literally made it. Well, they literally made it into a half-track camper van with a crane on the front.
Real British ingenuity. I like it.
Yeah.
Was that Remy you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, my old man and my granddad were Remy, Royal Australian electrical mechanical engineers.
Where's me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was
Royal
my
Australian,
dad.
Easy money earners.
But I do agree with Black Hat. You will be swearing within 15 minutes with a dragon kit. You will. I love to hate them, and I hate to love them.
There you go, Tim.
Ahoy! Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, it's
Skill
same
and
hat, same
Black Hat says. Sorry?
It's the
Marty and
Same
Marty.
cap badge, yeah.
Yeah, same cap badge.
Yeah. Except from they have the A, where we have by the horse's head, I imagine. Because we have on the scroll at the top. Do you know what the different parts of the cap badge represent?
No, seeing as I'm not in ring.
2 seconds. Switch camera back over. Okay, so the globe represents the British Army all over the world.
Yep.
And then you got the horse to represent horsepower. The chain to represent control over the horsepower. The lightning bolt to represent the electricity and doing electronics. And then the crown, obviously, because it's a royal core.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good bit of trivia.
Pay attention, because it may be in a quiz.
Oh, man.
John.
That's
the sort of random thing.
Ooh.
Sorry?
With the, I was just saying the Navy was very creative with the rate badges. So like I'm a stoker.
Yeah.
And ours is just a prop. It's just a propeller. That's it.
I thought you were going to say it's just a lump of coal or something.
No. Nah. Even more boring.
What, more boring than a lump of black.
Actually, when I go to Canberra, I'm going to be meeting my great uncle Billy. He immigrated from England to Australia, and the family needed money, so he walked across the road to the local army base and joined up in the Australian paratroopers. He said he never landed in an aircraft until about the 90s.
Yeah, right.
So he actually did a combat jump in Vietnam in the paras.
Oh, wow.
Which is ballsy, I got to say. So he's actually someone I really, really want to meet because he has a lot of stories from his time in Vietnam.
Could be good to do an interview for your podcast with him.
I was thinking that just because he's also got a very large photo, like two or three photo albums of his time because he took a lot of photos when he was there, sort of thing. And I mean, I do know one very tragic story of his time there, but I won't repeat it because it's pretty horrific. But
right.
But he's got a lot of stuff like, they'd buy souvenirs in Vietnam and to send them home, like, traditional dolls.
Yeah.
And when the family got it, the doll was taken apart. And they're going, what the hell? And apparently what the VC were doing was they were hiding explosives inside souvenirs. So soldiers would take them, send them home, and they wouldn't go off until, they unwrapped the package and, started playing with like dolls and stuff like that. And that's where they'll go off.
Wow.
They're doing that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
That's like Chinese cars now.
Especially the electric one.
Or American Teslas.
Yeah. Do you know, I was saying that to Gary Morris yesterday because I sat in the car park whilst I was on Discord. I was in the hospital car park, and this Tesla was driving around looking for spaces. And I said, "Go away, Tesla. Nobody wants you here. Nobody wants you to park on a busy car park. It's not worth the insurance."
I've found a new hatred for Teslas just for one little thing they have.
Go on.
And that's like when in a Tesla, like in a normal car, when you're using the accelerator, you take your foot off the accelerator, you keep going at the same speed, and you start to slowly slow down. But usually you make Teslas don't do that. When you take your foot off the accelerator, they start auto braking. That's just what the electric engines do. But the brake light does not go on. So you can be sitting behind one on a motorway doing about 100k, and then they'll take their foot off the accelerator, and that thing will instantly start slowing down, but you don't notice until you have to slam the brakes on because there's no brake lights.
Wow.
I hate it. I've almost put my work ute into the back of an expensive Tesla because they have this feature.
Yeah, they take some time to get used to. It's the same with like when you put it into reverse, and it's
You're going to tell us you're a Tesla owner now, aren't you, Tim?
No, my mate is a Tesla owner, and I take great pleasure in calling him a chino wearing. Actually, I can't say that on the internet, but I pay him out. But yeah, he's let me drive it a couple of times. It's a bit of a head spin, but as an electrical guy, something that I kind of get a kick out of is when you're going downhill. If you take your foot off the accelerator, because the wheel's still turning, you start like reverse powering, and your motors become generators.
Yeah.
What's it? Regenerative mode.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool. I know that like logically, yes, that's what happens when.
I mean, trains do that. Trains have the same thing. The regenerative braking.
Yeah.
Huh.
Which is great unless you live in a country like the Netherlands where it's flat. It's a bit of a wasted feature.
I'll have to tell Austin. I'll send send him all your regards for driving a Tesla.
Yeah, please do. Dave Cummins says, Wombat, that is the purpose of whiskey. It is indeed. The Wombat says, haha, Dave, not sure I want to go down that path again. Sonic says, poodles don't look that much like sheep. It does after a few beers, I suppose.
Poodles run too fast.
Yeah. Oh dear. He says, David, maybe he hopes it's an aggressive poodle, so he has a growler. Oh, God. he likes a challenge.
Good old Julian.
Dave says, laugh my ass off. Jim says, I think I went to school with martial arts. Dave says, I said I crave a poodle. What? I didn't say I crave anything, did I? Oh, maybe it was crave approval. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hey, Mikey, the heart wants what the heart wants.
I know. Unfortunately, they live up on the hills, and I can't walk up them. Darkside says, how many of these sheep are people dressed up, though? Well, it depends if they identify as a sheep or not, doesn't it?
Oh, well, there's always that.
Yeah. What do you do, Callum, if they say they identify as a goat?
I mean, I'm not picky.
Tie a T-tail around your head and
You'd say, oh, you could talk and then keep going.
Just don't tell
like
anyone.
you just tie a T-tail around your head and kid on you're an Arab.
Can't be doing saying that, dude. Julian says, laugh my ass off, David. Yes, I think it was approval. Yes, it was. Dominic says, I'm going to do something else. Talk to you later and until the next stream. All right, Dominic, have a good day,
Cheers,
mate.
Dom.
Julian says, later, Dominic. Jim says, see you another time, Dominic. Darkseid says, bye, Dom. Sonic says, laters, Dominic. Take care. And Julian says, I dislike all EVs due to the lack of engine noise, so they can appear around the corner with no warning. Bloody dangerous if you're a pedestrian, especially partially sighted and rely on hearing them. Yes. When I was sat in the car park,
Julian, I will agree with that because I work on roads, and I also hate that feature of I use my hearing when I'm concentrating on other things. I use my hearing to see if I can hear cars coming, and they're just too quiet. So next thing I know, they're right next to me, and I was like, "Fuck."
Yep, I do the same thing when I'm riding on roads, Colin. And when it comes to cycling, always got one ear ready for what's on the road coming behind me, and the electric. I don't know if they're doing this in other parts of the world, but electronic cars here in America have an option to have an audio sound of an engine that is running while it's in operation, so you actually hear something.
Yeah. Well, when I was sat in the car park yesterday, there's a woman. She was walking across the car park. Bear in mind, the road through this car park is the emergency road for the ambulances to get to the A&E department from the front of the hospital. It's the only road, and it's got red lines on it. It says emergency vehicles, emergency route. So ambulances flying up and down it all the time with flashlights going after. But you also have cars going around there. And she walked into the middle of this road and then just stood there for about 5 minutes, texting, not looking up at all. I thought, if a Tesla or something comes around there and doesn't see you in time, you're fucked because you're not going to hear it coming.
Nope. Well, I don't. Nope. The thing is, when people are in their phone, Mikey, they're not going to hear a semi truck coming.
No.
Oh no, they don't need people don't hear my work ute when I'm right up behind them, which makes it when you hit the horn so much better. I wish I had a dash cam.
I did that. Yeah, I did that one time to a guy at a drive-in. I was going into a restaurant parking lot, and he was right in the middle of the entranceway for vehicles. He was on his phone, and I was like, all right, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to hit on the horn like an angry toot, like get the hell out of my way. I waited, and he was still on his phone. And I don't know how long it was. Finally, I just gave a quiet little pop on the horn, beep, and I shocked him. I think he dropped his phone. I can't remember, but it was like I hit him in the back. I hit him without his knowing it, but like I shoved him from behind. Totally shocked him. And I said, you're in the driveway, sir. I'm trying to get through. And he just looked at me like, like I had caused him irreparable emotional damage or something.
John, I just love, even when you're angry, you're so polite.
Me?
You're more polite than Canadians.
Me?
Yeah.
You I'm doing it here. You don't know what it's like in regular everyday life. You gotta have one of those cameras around with me.
Just imagining this
so
guy
real
being
life, you're
my
like a
therapist
homicidal
will hear
maniac.
this.
No, actually, there is a reason I tread lightly. There is a reason I tread lightly in America, and I'm not kidding. I mean this.
They have
You
guns.
don't know who's carrying a weapon.
They have guns.
No, John, I'm not kidding. You don't know who's carrying a weapon. If you push someone the wrong way, you could be looking down some blue steel. I'm not joking about
crazy.
that.
It's crazy.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to bring everything to a screeching halt, but yeah. I mean, I don't wear shirts with team names on them or anything on them, but very rarely, because I just don't want someone approaching me and causing an issue with something that they see I may be wearing or something like that. You just don't know who's got a weapon.
There's YouTube videos, what the strangest thing Americans have ever said type videos. And one of them was an American had come over to the UK on holiday and staying with a friend, and they went for a walk, and they went for a walk across the fen and went for a walk across the fields and everything. And she started having a panic attack. And a friend said to her, "What's the matter?" She went, "Well, we might get shot any second." She went, "Why?" She went, "Well, we're trespassing." He went, No, that's not how it works here. And she was genuinely thought that because they crossed onto a field that they were going to get shot at. I mean, that's insane to anyone outside the US.
Yep. Gun culture is a real thing here in the States. It really is.
Being trespassing isn't even a criminal offense in the UK. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but making a joke is.
Yeah. Say the wrong thing on Facebook is so.
That's all I'm saying. That's as political as I'm getting.
Yeah.
For the duration,
This is Modmin's way of saying shut up and change the subject. Julian says, Mikey, the Pied Piper of poodles, enticing them down off the hills. No, wait, that's sheep. Doing nothing for racial stereotypes here, Mikey. Those Welsh aren't a race. We're just a nationality. We're not aliens. David says, the Poodle Piper of Hamlin. That sounds so wrong. Julian says, in my honest opinion, texting in the middle of a road is a Darwin in action. I cannot understand.
Hallelujah, Julian.
I was saying this to Kay yesterday, right, when we were driving around the hospital car park.
Oh my God, yes.
Why is it now even adults don't look up from their phones when they're crossing the roads?
You're right.
Why can they not just put their phone in the pocket when they go out and leave it there?
Probably too busy playing Pokemon Go or some shit.
Yeah. But if I go out, I put my phone in my pocket and then I leave it. I might occasionally check it when I've stopped, like when I'm waiting for Kay in the shop while she's in the shop. But I don't walk around with my phone out in front of me all the time. It's bizarre.
It's me a reason to have one of these phones.
Yeah.
I had one of those when I was about 10.
Did it have?
Yeah, I had a pager until recently.
Did it have early learning sensor stuck to the back of it, Callum?
No, I peeled it off.
Well,
I took the end of it as well.
It's like people that have grown up with these smartphones their whole life now are adults. Like I've got an 18-year-old in my class, and I almost fell over because her year of birth was 2006.
Wow, that's
weird.
Saying that, that's the same age as my daughter.
Oh, it's just wrong.
Well, yeah, and I'm only 36.
Yeah.
Soon to be 46.
Not for another 10 years.
Yeah, that goes by fast,
long before me.
faster than you know.
Kaylee will get there long before me, mate.
Maybe so.
Julian says GMTA, David. Okay. Jim says, sorry, folks, didn't mean to be so serious. Why so serious?
Speaking of which, so my daughter, we were talking at the dinner table yesterday. She mentioned, she's into Batman at the moment, but she mentioned I said, have you seen Batman Returns? The Danny DeVito as a penguin. Yeah, that one. I said, you haven't seen that? She said, I keep on waiting. You never sort of showed it to me. So anyway, we put it on last night, but I only saw the first, say, half and then did the live stream. And we're having a conversation about it earlier today. And, she loved it. Tom hated it. It used to be my worst movie for years, but now it doesn't suck so hard because I've seen Starship Troopers and that eclipsed it.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Starship Troopers is a classic.
Yeah.
I remember watching Starship Troopers for the first time when it came out on telly. And you know the scene where he flips the knife and throws it?
Yeah.
I was sat in art class, and one of my mates was sat next to the wall at the other end of the table. And he was really annoying me. And I was just sat there, and I was flipping these pair of scissors in my hands. And he annoyed me, and in the end, I just flipped it and then launched it, and it stuck in the wall. And I went, oh, shit, because it landed, it stuck in right next to his face, next to the wall. I went, So he went and told the teacher, and the teacher went, no, I don't think Mike would do something like that. He's too sensible. And then pulled the scissors out of the wall.
Starship Troopers is a masterpiece, and I still regularly quote it. Like they were filming.
Maybe I'm determined to not be part of this live stream anymore. Maybe I keep on saying things that upset the masses.
They were.
No, you're just
one
old
of
and
the,
crotchety. It's okay.
One of the recruitment videos on board HMAS Canberra, and they're getting just people that were walking around Tudak to sort of say a couple words into the camera or whatever. I just go, I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say, kill them all. I just kept walking.
I mean, I've seen Starship Troopers at least 5 or 6 times now.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe I should revisit it then. Maybe I only saw it once.
With Batman, when I first started watching that one, I'm sitting there going, this is really crap. And then Michelle Pfeiffer turned up in the Catwoman suit, and I was like, no, I've changed my mind.
So, John, here's a question for you. How does it feel to be one of the senior citizens of this stream?
How old are you, John?
I'm 55.
I'm 60. I'm oldest.
Yep. So we got
guaranteed
Papa
the
Jim.
youngest.
Yeah, you're how old?
Pardon me?
I'm 29.
Hey, me too.
Wow.
Although 30 in March, and I'm not looking forward to it.
You're so old, Mikey.
Oh, diddles, motherfucker.
You are the youngest then. I got November 1st.
Sonic, how old are you?
41.
Okay.
Huh.
Kind of an old fart. Wait, see if it's true though, right? See the fact, like, apparently you get the older you get, the shorter you get in stature.
Yes. Yes, I was once.
I hit 60. I'm buggered.
5'11". Yes.
Then again, people in Scotland are pretty short.
Well, that's so they don't get so much for draft under the kilts.
I mean, when I went to go visit my family in Glasgow and Dumbarton, I stood out like a sore thumb because I'm looking down, because my granddad was 5'2".
Mm-hmm.
He was 5'2", and he was one of the tall one. He was the tallest. And then I go and see them at 6'3", and it's like, it's like, how are we related again?
I've just got this image in my head, man, with like Mikey chasing after some sheep and a pair of stilts. Yeah, Buckley.
You got some weird vestiges, Stu.
Well,
friend of mine went to China. He's 6'2", and he towered over everyone.
Yeah.
Paul says,
That's
just don't get your
Philippines.
penis out again, Jim. I mean,
Yeah, you didn't
right
see
on.
that. No one here knows about that story. That was an interesting one.
Yeah, flashing your penis all over the place. Well, that's what it is, isn't it? A rifle?
No, that would be a pop gun.
Ah, right.
22.
Yeah, snub nose.
Jim says, yes, I remember that, Paul.
Oh, I forgot to put a decal on. I need to. That's probably the last thing on this kit. So what do you reckon? This is stitching. So you can't see it. Along the bottom there's two lines of. There's a darker line and then a tan line, and it's basically stitching up the center line of canvas. So what do you reckon? Go for the tan string or the darker string?
Ooh, whichever one stands out.
I feel like the tan would look cool with the green.
Yeah, I'll do the tan.
Julie says, apocryphal, I hope. A tour guide at Windsor Castle was drowned out by a passing aircraft. A tourist complained, asking why the castle was built under a flight path. Oh, dear.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's a very touristy thing to say, isn't it?
Mm.
Next. Wow, this chat's doing so well today. Jim says, Julian, I love your stories, mate. They are good, aren't they? To be fair.
Good value.
Sonic says, I would have responded with the best way for the Romans to invade Britain.
Yeah.
Would have made just as much sense. Jimmy says, each to their own. Ship Troopers is okay if it's on anyway, but I wouldn't search it out. Yeah. To be honest, I don't watch that many films anymore. I hardly watch telly. Julian says, laugh out loud, Sonic. And he said, John, you're only a year older than him.
Ah. That's okay. You'll never catch up, though.
David Cummins says, 29, me too. Bollocks. No offense, Dave, but I know you.
Yes.
If you're 29, you had a paper round in downtown Baghdad on a bad day. Paul says, geez, I have cars older than that.
Let's see how this goes.
Julian says, who's the oldest in the chat? Oh, there you go. We've got a competition going now. Not me. Not me.
Cheers, Sonic.
Paul says, Julian, I'm 63. Darkside says, I'm 29 as well, 30 this month.
You old fart.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kissy.
I didn't think I'd be one of the older ones on the stream.
Well, welcome to the older group, Mikey. Have a seat, mate.
No, I think what it is Tim and Callum just look way older than what they are.
Yeah.
It's a hard life.
Beard.
They're just well seasoned.
I turned 18 and they didn't even bother to ask for my ID in bars. It was great.
Yeah. I came
Well,
out
I
of
was-
the womb looking like I had a serious crack at an international rugby career.
When I was 14, I used to work for, in holidays, I worked for a company that delivered beer to the pubs. And every pub we went into, you and the driver would get a free beer. So nobody ever questioned the fact that I was 14 and I was sat at a bar drinking pints.
Wow.
It was
You have
weird.
your beard back then, too?
No.
No.
In fact, even when I joined up when I was 17, I still pretty much just had bum fluff.
You had bum fluff?
Yes. It's what it's called peach fuzz.
Okay. Peach fuzz. Yep.
Fluff.
Graham says 68 next month. Wow. I think we're in for a winner. Wombat says I'll be 55 next weekend. Ooh. Make sure to come on. We'll wish a happy birthday on the Friday. Julian says, if people get shorter the older they get, I'm royally fucked. I'm only sodding 4'8" now. You'll practically disappear. Graham says, got wider, not shorter. Don't we all? Sonic says, get a booster seat every birthday.
Just stack them up.
Julian says, according to my BMI, I'm not fat, I'm too short. Kaylee's just telling me that our stepson, or my stepson, her son, has said that we can switch the rooms around. Cool. Because at the minute, Kay's crash room is in the box room, in a little tiny room. But our stepson has got one of the biggest bedrooms in the house. So what we said is he hardly ever, he only stays down every couple of weeks or something for the weekend. So we might as well switch the rooms over so that she's got more space. And he said, yeah, that's fine. So cool. Dave says, I identify as 29. I thought you identified as a sheep. If you like Callum. Kaylee says, I'm 22. Yeah. If you were 22, darling, that would mean I married you when you were 13, and that's just so wrong.
Ooh.
That's wrong on so many levels. Wombat says, when I was 20, I went into a bar with my brother who's only 18, and I got carded. He didn't.
Cool.
I remember going shopping with my dad when we were younger, I think we were teenagers in Asda. And he bought a couple of cans of lager, and they went through the till, and the woman said, have you got ID, love? And he looked at her and he went, ID? He said, I haven't had hair for the last 20 years. He said, what do you want to ID me for? And she looked up and went, oh, sorry, love. I'm just used to IDing people.
It's a requirement here in the States. You got to ID someone. I have that happen to me all the time. They have to do it.
Well, in the UK, it's if you look under 21, you've got to prove that you're at least 18.
Yeah, that's the same in Australia.
Yeah.
Although I've got a mate that doesn't have a beard, and I make a point of saying he's not 18.
Wombat says, when I was, we've read that one. There you go, we've read that one. We've read it. Julie says, well seasoned, own up, who's been sprinkling the pepper around? Yeah, my hair's going salt and pepper already.
Oh, bitch, please.
All right, Snow White. Just because your hair blends in with the bloody wallpaper.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Well, my younger brother, he has the same hair as John. So
yeah,
he's younger than I am, and he's already half white.
Ooh, did you watch the stream? I think was it Thursday? Was it yesterday? John had the camera facing him, and because the lighting and because his back wall is white, the top of his head just disappeared at his hairline. It was so bizarre to watch.
Looking like the alien Mr. Burns, with the glowy aura.
Sonic says, oh my god, old model of Gits. Well, there you go. Dark Side it's challenge 25 now. There we go. Dave says, oh, I'd better take ID to the pub from now on if it's challenge 25. Oh, dear. Gary said Gary Evans got age checked at Tesco the other day while buying Guinness. What?
Guinness Zero.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Guinness Zero.
Wow.
I got ID'd once for buying a can of shandy, and I was 20. I think I was in my mid-20s, early 20s. A can of shandy that's got no alcohol in it. It's pop.
Pop.
So I said to the woman, because she refused to sell me because I didn't have my driver's license on me. I said, "Are you insane?" I said, "I've got a beard." She said, "Yeah, but you haven't got ID." And I went, "Can I speak to your manager?" I am the manager. And I went, I looked at her and I went, "Fuck off." I'm a kid older than you.
Specsavers.
Unreal.
She wasn't very impressed with that. Julian says, being married at 13 would be okay if you got married in the 14th century. 20th or 21st century? Not so much.
Not so much.
I think if I never had my goatee, they wouldn't ID me, they would just laugh at me.
Just to clarify, Kaylee was absolutely not 13 when we got married.
Okay.
She's 13 and a half.
No,
Just
14.
13 in 1 month.
14, Mickey?
Whatever you say.
I was 27 and she was 29.
Very good.
Officially.
Well, that's what she told me anyway.
Should have ID'd her.
It's such a good job I'm not monetized, isn't it?
So apart from a matte coat, the Iron Decker is finished. Hooray!
Great, John. Looks great.
Have you
I like
rigged it?
So that's all right. Sorry?
Have you rigged it?
Yep.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, yeah.
All that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering when
So-
the Eindecker is rigged, if you cut one of those lines would that whole airplane just collapse?
No, because they've got nothing to do with the structural strength at all. That's warping the wings for flight control.
I see. Okay.
No ailerons. So it's literally like the Wright brothers. So you move the stick left and right, it twists. There's a bar in the middle.
Yes.
You've got two lines going down from the control yoke. Twisting that bar that goes forward aft turns these cables at different rates to twist the wing up one way, down the other way. So these had terrible roll characteristics, but oversensitive yaw and pitch due to full flying surfaces. You know, look at me talking about stuff I know.
I'm glad I never had to fly one of those.
No, apparently, it was not easy to fly. It wasn't in service for too long. As soon as they invented the interrupter gear, so it's the first aircraft to have a shooting through the prop arc. Let me grab another kit. Just give me a sec. This is an education point.
That was Anthony Fokker, I believe, that devised the interrupter gear. He was a Dutchman, I believe.
I'm a big fan of the interrupter. Like any GATs that shot through props, I just think are the coolest.
That's like a cartoon.
So this is a Moran Saulnier Type N. Same deal. This had wing warping, and it's probably harder to see the rigging and everything else because it's darker.
Mm-hmm.
But rest assured, it's full of rigging. And again, the same deal. It had wing warping and all that sort of stuff like that. So this, at the back of the prop, you can probably see they've got a metal wedge. So as a machine gun fired, if it hit the prop, it'll deflect left or right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's what they used before the interrupter gear was introduced to everyone.
That's right. So one of these landed behind the German lines, and they just said, "Hey, that's a good idea. Hey, Fokker, can you do something about that?" And then I think it says in the instructions here, within 21 hours or so, he'd come up with this interrupter gear. And that then, when they were in combat, they call it the Fokker Scourge because these were absolutely, there's only 40 of these built because they were terrible from all accounts. But this was the world's first purpose-built fighter aircraft. Up till then, every other aircraft was a civilian aircraft. They just simply put a gun on. But this is the first one that was a fighter aircraft and it's a pursuit plane, and it was a terrible waste of time and lives and everything else. And then this came along, and you can see they're the same scale, so a bit of a wing size difference and all that sort of stuff like that. But yeah, like that. World War One, interesting topic.
Yeah,
They used to fire pistols, didn't they?
They did, yeah, pot shots.
Yeah, they used to drop caltrops for them as well, things like that, and steel darts.
They used to drop sheep out of them, Callum. Imagine that.
That was just the New Zealand Airborne Division.
Yeah. So that,
I just,
They
yeah.
had to stop doing it because the navigator kept jumping out after it.
Yeah.
The
mail
TV's
order
like
rides.
flew underneath
Quarter-mile
you,
high
like
club. Yeah.
Julie says, looks lovely, John. Nice job. And he says, so similar to torsion bar suspension, John.
Why not? Sure.
There we go. So we're at 2 hours 54 minutes.
Is that
It's gone
all?
quick.
It
I
has.
know.
It has indeed. Goes well with good company.
Yes. So let's see what people have been up to. Shall we go with John?
Why not? So most of it was refurbishing an old, well, I don't know how old it was. I didn't build it. It's not my kit, but basically it was a bit of a mess. Yeah, it is finished. So with new decals, it's got a new lease of life, and it looks, I wouldn't say properly good, but it looks passable. So there we go. That's a Meteor, and you saw the Eindecker.
Yeah, that's very good, John. Are you going to coat that with? You going to leave that with that semi-gloss appearance to it?
No. I'll do a matte coat, a Tamiya flat coat. Make it look more like linen.
The fact you're holding it up on this camera, because this camera it shows how small them kits actually are.
It's quite small. Yeah.
We've got you for scale.
Yeah.
When it's on the other camera, because it's zoomed in, it looks massive.
It is. I'll just. No, I won't grab it. But basically, yeah, it's certainly side profile. It's quite thin, quite small. It's been a beautiful build. It does, yeah. But it's so fragile at the back, and you can see how thin it is. So the rudder, the top of it fits on the point at the back of the fuselage. The lower point is just above the tail skid. So it's fragile as all get out. Now, I don't tend to weather these at all because I think if you get up close to them, they're fragile as all get out. So they don't get too dirty because they try to, they tear and they rip and they fracture and all sorts of stuff. So they're kept as clean as they can be. They're not like tanks, they're not in the mud. So I tend to go for a clean build, certainly with the biplanes and everything else.
Yeah.
But oh my God, that looks so good from the back. That's how it looks from the rear. You can see all the rigging and everything else. That's bloody cool.
It's blending into your hair, John.
Oh, you bastard.
I was going to say, John, if you were to build an aircraft that's based in the South Pacific, like say New Guinea or Guadalcanal, would you rough that up?
Oh, sure would. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the fun part of it for me.
Jim, how many cups of coffee have you demolished?
Nothing but a Three Stooges mug, and lots of coffee consumed. I didn't do any modeling yesterday or not yet today. So.
Okay. You demolished a few cups of coffee though, so that's good.
4th cup.
There we go. Tim.
Ahoy. I've been just doing a little bit more basing and stuff, base coding rather. Fall off. So just the landing gears, the little ladder, and stuff. Just getting that initial sort of white grey and then like a bit of a white ink and stuff before I seal that up and then start knocking it back with a bit of weathering and the decals and all of that stuff, and then I can push them all to one side and focus on the jet itself.
I didn't realise your cat ears light up.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's the whole kit and caboodle here.
Kit and caboodle. I also like the fact that you've got a cat tail as well.
Yeah.
How's it attached? We'll never know. Follow me on OnlyFans to find out now.
Callum, how are you getting on? How have you got on?
Yeah, good. I've just been still about halfway through masking the top turret. The turret doesn't have any panel lines really at all for me to mask, so I've had to actually put panel lines on myself with thinned out sprues, and I've spent most of the time polishing the clear parts, but now I'm just been dry fitting everything onto it. So
It's looking good.
Yeah, it looks great. Looks great. I love it.
How do you go about polishing the clear parts? Because that's something I'm looking at doing with the growler.
Do you guys use Future?
You want to polish your growler?
In Future?
God damn.
So I'm still sort of trialing, but at the moment I've been using 3000 grit sanding sponge, wet sanding, and then using a polishing wheel, but not with a Dremel, just using it by hand. And it's, I mean, passable. I mean, it's a maritime patrol aircraft, so that it's going to have salt stains on it. So yeah.
Yeah, right on.
So,
salt stains and polishing a growler. Cool.
Getting rough on the growler.
This has been a fun stream. Sonic?
Hey, well, I've not really been doing much with this. I've been struggling with it. It's really fiddly. So hopefully Tiff will be able to give me a hand with that, with the wee parts, because she's used to modelling stuff.
Yeah.
The wee Warhammer figures and stuff like that. Just like Jim sitting, taking big drinks, tea. So we're talking about cups and stuff. I'm just wondering if I'd get away with I like creating different stuff, like mine ideas. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. A bit funny, but yeah. I don't look at the sale, it's an idea.
Oh dear. There's always one. Right, it is now 1 minute. Oh, yeah. I've made 3.5 little ration boxes.
Yeah, cool.
With the little brown tape on it. But my mouse is that way, and I put these on my right hand, so okay. But, yeah. They're really cool though. They come there you go. So if I put that on my hand, shit.
Fumble.
Yeah, if I put that on my hand like that, then zoom it in.
Yes, we can do.
Look, it's got all the writing on it.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Great. Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Put brown tape on them across the top and stuff.
Yep.
But you get different ones on the card, on the sheet.
Wow.
So you got the main big boxes. You got like a top bit so that you can put it so it looks like they're open with the little individual cartons in it. And then you get the little actual individual.
Are we boring you, Jim?
No, not at all. Very exciting.
That's
you get the little individual cartons themselves as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that is Tamiya.
Oh, amazing.
It's called Tamir 135 US 10-in-1 ration carton.
Right.
Yeah, wow.
Okey-dokey.
So, can you show me, if you buy that, what's the packaging like? How's it come?
Just in a plastic bag. You know, like the
with a little sort of
trains.
Yeah, just one of those on top. I didn't know they were available.
Like
That's huh. I'm excited.
Yeah, they look fantastic, Mikey. The tape on top really sells it.
I think so. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, Jim, you're mentioning weathering, knocking things back. So this is this is
put them in the
like a Guadalcanal sort of thing.
Yeah.
Did you see all the paint on top? How it's all sort of worn down to the primer and stuff like that. So yeah, I tend to like cleaner builds though. So that's cool.
Yeah, it must
what I'll
be
do
the armor modeler and me.
Put them in the little storage cage in the back on the turret.
Yeah, that's a perfect spot for them. Yep.
There you go.
Nice.
Oh wow,
nice.
They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be the armor modeler and me that because I build both airplanes and tanks, but I still got to dirty up air. I mean, airplanes get dirty, tanks get filthy. I get it, but I still gotta mess up airplanes in some way somehow. It can't be too clean a build unless it's the one I know I'm modeling that's something that's in an air museum.
Yeah, I'm a big weathering guy. I think just adds like.
I thought I'd join in with the rest of the Australians.
No, you're in China, Mikey. You're in China.
Yeah. Anyway, time to end the show.
Yeah,
Sonic, you got a big
seeing you.
stripe across your mohawk.
Stripe.
Put your head down.
Yeah, Thor chips. Yeah.
You got a big stripe. It goes across like that. Big
Yeah, but
stripe.
and a Thor chips part.
Are you taking the piss? So this is a delay on this, right? I need to check.
Oh, I see what it is. Oh, I get it.
Oh, it's a baldy patch right there.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, you got a little
Oh
bit of
my
a
god, I'm a rogue part.
So every time you've been working on your model leaning down, that's what we can see. 2 black stripes with a bald patch in the middle.
It might just be a big dent with the edge of the couch with the arm on it. We're just falling asleep and just flapping
Like
it.
a hairy ass crack on camera.
I had a haircut yesterday. You could probably tell. I stepped out of the shower and just like towel. So before I sort of put it back down, I looked like Syndrome from the Incredibles. So I had to run. Yeah, just yeah. I'm just like I had to go up and get a haircut directly.
Quickly
Go
go
on
through
this
these
and
last comments.
put my discharge in. So
Holy crap!
just about done with it. Alrighty. Well, lovely seeing you all.
It's been a 3-hour session. This has been fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of comments just about Duke dropping in and dropping out because of his computer being weird. Darkside saying that Sonic's going bald. That's about it, really. Thank you all for coming on today. It's been great. Really enjoyed it.
It's been fun.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us. Thanks for inviting us, as always.
Thanks, Callum, for slowing down long enough to stay sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have kept going.
What am I? I'm up to second glass of wine, I think so. Yeah, cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
These I don't
but
feel
you're
so
not
bad.
posh.
They're low carb.
Oh, well, that's okay as long as you're looking
You're not
after
as
yourself.
posh as Callum, though, because yours comes in a box.
No, that's right.
Hey, this
Callum
came in a
has
box
a
of
bottle.
24.
Good man.
So these are low carb beers, so I don't feel guilty. At my hockey club, we call them fitness beers.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Come on.
Awesome.
What's going on here?
Sign off, Mikey, before we do another
Yes.
hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take command.
Thank you all for joining me. It's been really enjoyable. Me and John will be back on Monday with the
Monday.
viewers panel. So it's going to be pretty much like this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, because the tornado should be done by then. Well, it is done, but it's doing the ordnance. I think the next is the masking of the Qatari Spitfire, but I need to decide what I'm going to do after that. So I'll let you people decide on Monday. How's that?
How about letting us know on Discord?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll give you a list.
Get on with it.
Oh, there you go. Callum's having the disco now.
Jesus, I want to be there.
Really handy for taking
Yeah,
photos.
we need the British. We need the British Colonel from Monty Python.
Nope. Far too silly.
Yes, right. Get on with it.
It's good for taking
Hold your
photos.
finger
but I
out now,
can
Mikey. I don't think sheep have prostates.
Right, gentlemen. I shall see you either on Discord or on Monday at 2 p.m.
After my week.
Be there or be
Take care,
square.
all.
Have a good weekend, you horrible lot.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, where's Chalky? We missed Chalky.
Yeah, he's not been on for a while. But we got to go, so later, guys.
9,
Well,
Is it playing? Damn. What?